they were wrong. For 2 years, the stock market bled continuously under these tariffs, just devastating, day after day of red numbers and a slow bleed. Now, what was different now than then is other countries began to tariff each other as well. This time, it just seems to be us. We're the only ones coming out swinging. But if other countries start putting tariffs on other countries, oh gosh, then we're in for a real ruckus, folks. Right now, it's just America being isolated from the world. If everybody starts tariffing, we're going to be in a knife fight. But that's where we are now. How did the Smoot-Hawley tariffs resolve? Well, after 2 years, they lost their Senate seats and were kicked out and were never allowed back in Washington again. That's how those tariffs resolved, folks. And guess what? Shortly after that, we started to see upward movement in the stock market. So where we are right now, we've implemented these tariffs with the hope, with the dream of bringing manufacturing back here. We want to make good jobs. And you know what? I understand that. 2 weeks ago, I was in a very rural area in Ohio. I was driving back with my little girl. We were at a park and we stopped at McDonald's. And this young man said to me, he said, I hope the factories come back so I can stop working this shit job. And I felt for this young man. Here he is sweeping the floor at a McDonald's. And, I said, he said he wanted to buy a house. I want him to buy a house. I want that for him. And I want good jobs for my fellow Americans. Trump thinks the way we can get there is through tariffing, for forcing people to pay for access to this market. But another possibility, folks, is everybody makes deals behind our backs. We just told everybody at the negotiating table that we don't want to play their game. What do you think everyone else is going to say to us? So right now, we're in a very dicey place. We don't really have a clear vision or a clear path forward. We have the concept of a plan and a hope and a dream to bring manufacturing back. Yes, Andrew, during his Dateline, said there have been some capital commitments, and there have been. But today, the market lost $3 trillion. The $1.5 trillion coming in from the United Arab Emirates, which is wonderful and appreciated. But that's half of what the outflows were today. And this is just day one of the tariff, folks. We don't know what day two is going to bring. We don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And so that's where we're at now. And I land.
You know, guys, what I want to say is this right here. That this, guys, 185 countries. He has united 108. We might be the biggest boys in town, guys, but when everyone's against you and everyone thinks bad of you, everyone, guys, we were everything. Now everyone thinks bad of us. And it's sad because we have a whole bunch of Trump supporters that like, oh my God, we love it. We love what he's doing. But our country now, everyone looks at us like we're the bad guy. They do not look that this cannot help us. NATO, the alliance that we built, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, okay, what we built, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Guess what, guys? They don't even want us. We're right now, guys. We are like so ostracized, and the only thing that we have right now is our economy. And I'll tell you something: these countries will chip away at our economy. They will chip away. They have a common and shared interest. When everyone else has a shared interest against you, you can't survive. It's hard to survive. But once again, we got people smiling and everything else because they think that America is going to be great again. And I wonder what kind of greatness they're looking for. Because America right now, in terms of what we're doing for such a young country, we're great as hell. When you look at China and look at everyone else and Japan and all those countries that have existed, India have existed long before we have. Russia, long before we have. Okay? And we're talking about great again. We haven't even realized our full potential greatness that we can have. But yet we have someone wants us to go back to what old school greatness was. And right now, he has unified the entire world against us. And people are sitting here saying, yo, you don't know what he's doing. You don't know what he's doing. Yeah, I do know what he's doing. He's unified the world against us. That's all you need to know. So with these tariffs are just crazy. You know, today, the New York mayor, you know, about today, yesterday, the New York mayor, he got off. He committed a crime. And they had to dismiss the charge, with prejudice. Okay, with prejudice because they didn't want him beholden to Trump. But guess what? He's running as an independent because he's beholden to Trump to try to split the vote. Musk is out. There's so much going on right now, guys, that when you look at it, it's a total shit show here. There's no law and order. He pardoned a corporation the other day. He pardoned a corporation, a crypto corporation.
Oh, the guy. Yeah.
So when you look at what's happening here, this is not our America. And I'm gonna tell you this right here: the people that are saying this is America, you guys really aren't Americans. Okay, you guys like to claim that the other people aren't. You guys aren't Americans. You guys are the ones that will sit down and because you think he identifies with you, because of some identity politics, because of some identification that makes you special, that you're going to be excluded. But at every freaking turn, he's proved to you that you're not. When he did the firing, you guys got fired. Okay, when he did the DEI, you guys got DEI'd. Okay, everything. And these tariffs, okay, everyone in America, Skull said, "Oh yeah, we got tax as a tax. We all got no, we all got a pay cut. We all got a pay cut because the American dollar is not going to go as far as it was just a week ago. All right, and guess what? The products are going up, so that we're not going to be able to afford it. But guess what? There are going to be some people that benefit from it, and those people don't look like none of you. All right, I don't care what you look like. Those people, their bank account, they don't look like none of you. And you guys are sitting here saying that this is the best thing that happened since egg prices went down. It's not. All right. We got the entire world united against us. We got China sitting down with Japan and South Korea, and they hate each other. They hate Japan. Hates Japan. Did some reprehensible things to the Chinese, but they're sitting down, trying to figure out how to work together. You got Canada working with the EU. People are forming alliances that's not going to be easily broken and won't be broken because they're always going to remember what this guy did. And when we travel, they're not going to look at you like, oh, you're an American citizen. They're going to look at you as you're an American because this is what America's doing, because this is the representation that we chose. Eileen.
Drop the mic.
Say something if I could.
And the reason I'm playing this, guys, the reason I'm playing this is because this feels like an episode of X Files. That's what it feels like, an episode of X Files. Because if someone had told me that Americans would have signed would sign off on this and glad hand for this, hell, Grant, he didn't bring his ass in here tonight because we would have handed it to him, handed it to him.
I wanna jump in
Go
just a
ahead,
little
go
bit,
jump in.
Jonathan. Just a little bit. I understand a little bit of the history from what Trump was explaining, and I really appreciate him explaining this. There was a time period in America that none of us lived in. All of us are way too young to remember this, but there's a history of tariffs where America had a surplus of money because we operated with tariffs only and we did not operate with an income tax. This is before the income tax was created, excuse me. So, what he's really trying to do is eliminate the income tax. But in order to do that, we have to be able to pivot to the tariff. And that's where the hard part is, and that's where he's saying that it's almost like uh putting a person into surgery and taking them out of surgery, and you got to allow them to heal. And so when you put 10% across the board on the world, that means they did three, what I think it was $30 trillion. 10% of $30 trillion. Wow. That's what is that, 30 billion or 3 billion? I don't know how much it is. I'm just going off the top of my head. But what I'm saying is, what we're trying to do is replace the income tax. So we don't have to be taxed at all. And we had a surplus at that time. We're talking history. But what
I
I'm
got a question for
saying
you.
is,
Jamal, I got a
How
question for
much
you,
was
Jamal.
the
Jamal,
federal budget then, Jamal? Do
one
you
second, hold on,
know?
I'm
Cindy.
sorry, I'm
Jamal,
sorry.
I got a question for you, Jamal.
That was Tara.
Oh, one second, hold on. We go to chat. Jamal, how come you're not on chatter?
I was on chatter, but I couldn't get my vocals. I
You
came
what?
over, but my vocals weren't coming out. I don't know the sound. I just
Let
couldn't
me
get my
meet you.
sound.
Y'all, you just like minimize your shit. Come right back. Get over here, bro, because you belong over here, bro. That's all I gotta
Okay,
say. I
all
love
right.
your contribution. Love your contribution. Absolutely.
So
Go
Jamal,
ahead,
I'm gonna
Tara.
land
can
it
I
right
ask
there.
you, how much was the federal budget when tariffs were in most of it? Do you know? Do you
I
remember?
have no
Do you have any?
absolute idea at all, but I do know that there was a surplus
But
doing it
wait. It was
using tariffs.
$56 million, okay? About give
That's
or
not a
take.
lot. That's not
Now,
a lot.
right
That's
now,
not
our
a lot.
federal budget is 6.5 trillion.
Trillion
If we
dollars.
placed 100% tariffs on every single thing that we imported, which would, probably destroy the country, you'd raise 3.1 trillion. You can't do it.
Right. And we understand that, but what we can do
You
is
just
off.
said we could do it, though, so
No,
I
no,
don't,
no. What
I
I
don't
said, what
understand
I
that.
said, what I said was we can offset and get rid of a lot of these income taxes. And I think that's his mindset. Now, this is not my concept. This is Trump explaining the history of why he likes the tariff so much. And we're even in the playing field. So what we're doing is saying America first. Fuck the world, America first. I like that.
But let
I'll
me
land
ask you
there.
one
That's
more thing,
complete
Jamal.
nonsense. You don't
Can
know
I
what you're
ask, first
talking
of all, it's
about.
ridiculous. It's not going to work. As I said to you, you just don't have the money in tariffs to get rid of the income tax. And from a timing standpoint, it would definitely not work. Right? We're just not going to get that money. We're not going to bring the manufacturing back in time, et cetera. But secondly, let me ask you one more question. So screw the world. I got it. What happens if the empire strikes back and the world decides we don't need America? Is that a possibility when you place sort of ridiculous and taxes based upon a formula that makes no sense at all? The tariffs that he put up there were not right. Do you know that? His charts were completely wrong. They were made up numbers with a different calculation having nothing to do with the tariffs that are placed on us by other countries. So let me ask you once again, what happens if people don't go for this and they decide we just don't want to work with the United States anymore? Now, granted, they can't do that right away. It wouldn't work for many countries, but there is a possibility here, isn't there?
Well, there's a possibility of anything. Anything is possible. But what we're saying is we're not going to keep bending over and taking the shaft. We're going to stand
Let
up
me ask you another thing.
and
Have we been
and go
bending over to
America first.
Canada? Have we been bending over to Canada, Jamal? Canada
No, we've been
basically,
carrying
the trade
Canada
deficit
on
there
our
is
back.
$41 billion. We don't subsidize them. We have a very good relationship. We had a very good relationship. Have we been bending over to them?
Well, from what I'm just going to go off of what the Canadians have been saying. What I've been hearing the Canadians say is we've got to start thinking about doing business with someone besides the United States because we can't depend on them anymore. So they've been depending on us. This is coming out of their mouth.
No,
Well,
no, no,
they,
no. What
that's not
they're
what they mean. Go ahead,
No,
Tara.
that's not what they mean. What
We've
they
been
mean
dependent on
is
that.
there used to the United States and Canada used to have what I'd call a symbiotic relationship. In other words, they had a relatively equal amount of trade going back and forth, and certainly services. It wasn't that big a deal. Canada does get benefits from the United States, but the United States, relied on Canada for certain things. Canada has been a very loyal ally in many ways. Now, when they say we can't depend on them, what they're saying is the United States has out of nowhere decided, even though Donald Trump himself negotiated the new US Mexico Canada agreement that he said was the best agreement ever, negotiated it, said great agreement, tariff situation is great, and all of a sudden out of nowhere he has made Canada one of his arch enemies, which is why Canada has basically said this is, we have to find another way because the United States is no longer reliable. Do you understand what
Jonathan,
I'm saying?
excuse me. I
Well,
don't.
I
Is
think
this
what he's
John?
trying to do is he's trying to force Canada to come with us. Because what he's saying is, if we're subsidizing you like a state of the union,
But we're
you
not.
might as
But
well
you're
be a
saying,
part of
do
the
you have any
federal union.
evidence that Canada is being subsidized? Give me the evidence.
Well, they said it themselves. I mean, we're
Where does it
purchasing.
say they're being
They,
subsidized, Yvonne? You
well,
can
I
prove.
mean, the Canadian worker is in trouble just because we're saying that we're going to put 10% tariff on them. What does that say?
Jamal, the Canadian workers, they have a trade deal. They have in the auto sector, the three countries, US, Canada, and Mexico have a deal. It's called just-in-time manufacturing. So the cars go back and forth to each nation, each country in order to be manufactured. If the tariffs go on these cars, it is affecting, it's not just Canada, it's affecting workers in the United States, because I believe today 900 and odd workers, and I'm gonna have to Google it, in the United States lost their jobs. You're not hearing everything. Canada is not, US is not subsidizing Canada. They have security deals, they have security arrangements up on the north, and they also have trade arrangements. And the basket of goods in the USMCA are free between Canada and the United States. There's a quota, and above that quota, if you buy goods above that quota, that's when you pay extra. And if we buy goods over that quota, we pay extra. Mr. Trump did not explain it well, but you can Google all over. There's more information out there for you to educate yourself. I land.
Can I speak?
So,
I
one
wanted
thing
to.
I wanted to say really quickly is one of the largest goods. God, I hate to use that term, but that was the term that was used by the Treasury at the time, that was tariffed in those first many decades, was human slaves that were brought over on the transatlantic slave trade. The fee was $75 a person, which translates to about $3,025 in today's money. And a great deal of the early wealth of the United States came in tariffing living, breathing human beings that were taken from their homes and brought here in chains. And I land.
Can I speak? I did want to bring it up. If you want to like learn more about the history and like stuff with tariffs, Google the Smoot Hawley Tariff Act. I put it in the chat, and that was instituted by Herbert Hoover at the time, and he thought that it would help protect U.S. economic it like help protect American industries. And all it did was it just worsened the Great Depression, because he significantly raised tariffs on imported goods, and it exacerbated the recession, because what happened is all the countries that he put the tariffs on, they just put in retaliatory tariffs, and it sparked a global trade war, and it just made the Great Depression like way worse. So Trump's kind of just doing the same thing. It's pretty delusional. It's stupid.
It's not delusional. What Trump is doing, he is positioning himself for a negotiating power. Okay, when he smacks around Canada in the way that he's doing, I understand it's disconcerting to traditional people who want to see, geopolitics done in a traditional sense. But if you haven't gotten the memo by now, Donald Trump is far from traditional. He's an unorthodox, disrupting force. Okay, and he's a deal maker. I just saw a headline a minute ago that said Trump is now willing to negotiate on the tariffs with almost every one of the countries that is tariffing us at 97%, for instance. We're at 45%. I think the country was Cambodia. They're charging us 97%. He did 45%.
Do you
Why?
not understand
Excuse
that
me,
that's a
excuse
phony
me. Let me
figure?
finish.
Do you
Not,
not understand the
it's
basis of
not a
that
real
figure?
figure.
Excuse me.
It's
I
not a
wasn't
real
finished.
figure.
I
Sir,
wasn't finished.
what
I
Donald
wasn't
Trump
finished.
did was he didn't take actual tariffs. What he did was he took the amount of the trade deficit that existed with a specific country, say Indonesia. Then he took the amount of goods that the United States or that Indonesia exports to the United States, and then he basically divided the two and he said, look, that's 64%. That's not the actual tariff. He made those figures up. They have no
Okay.
relation to actual
That's fine.
tariffs.
Okay, so you can disregard his math, you can put your own spin on it. Fine. Whatever the
It's not
truth
No,
is,
it's
math.
not a
It's
whatever it
not
spin.
is,
math.
It's
excuse me,
that's
whatever
not
it
it's not
is,
math. He made it
whatever
up.
He
it
made it
is,
That's
up.
not spin. You
okay,
can look it up anywhere. You
whatever it
look it
is,
up, please. So when
the
you said
point of the
97%, that's
right,
not
you're
correct.
losing the forest through the trees. The forest is that
No,
he,
you are
excuse
losing
me,
the
I'm
forest through
almost
the
done.
trees.
I
Hold
wasn't
on, hold on.
finished.
Let's let them land, guys, and then Ty, you can hop in. Go ahead, sir.
You're getting mixed up in the minutia of all the bullshit. The forest through the trees is that he's rebalancing the trade, whatever you want to call it. He's rebalancing it because America has been taken advantage of for decades. Trump has been saying this back in the 80s with on Oprah and everything else. This is something that is an open secret. Okay, I remember being in community college. When before I got my master's, I remember them saying globalism is what's happening. There's no turning back. Donald Trump has been speaking out against this globalist approach for decades. He's in position now. Yes, he negotiated USMCA. Okay, but it's a new day. And he has every right to renegotiate it and give us something even better. America first. We're
All right,
sick
so
of
here's a
being
little
taken
history
Oh,
advantage
I'm
lesson.
of.
so
Oh,
excited. Can I go, please? I've been
sorry,
waiting for someone to make this point, like
go
It
all
was
ahead.
night.
kind of, it was kind of on Ty's
No, go
thought.
ahead.
I'm sorry.
Ed.
No,
Okay,
no,
What?
no,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
no. I want him to go
Go.
because we kind of think the same way. My VC friend, go.
Well, I'm just going to say that, you're right. Trump has been on this for decades and decades and decades. And this shows why this policy is actually so poorly implemented. Most of his other policies are coming from Project 2025 and other conservative think tanks. But this tariff thing, you're right. It's a personal crusade of Donald Trump, and we're seeing all of his intelligence brought to bear. And so, why everyone's been scratching their heads all night saying, why does he do this? Is because this is his little brainchild. This is the brainchild of the Nepo baby real estate developer from New York trying to figure out how to solve a global economic issue. And it's an absolute train wreck. And I land, I'll let you guys go.
I will
For those,
That's
respond by
for
very
those,
saying,
for those
biased.
I
who
will
don't,
respond
for
by
those who don't
saying,
remember,
you have an all I already know attitude. I have a wait and see attitude. You already have it all figured out. You must be an economist. You've got it all. You've got the textbooks. You've got the
He actually
data.
is an economist,
Bingo,
Scald
Okay,
is.
but that's
bingo.
fine. But I would say that's
Yeah,
your
that was
problem.
wild. That was fucking wild right there. He like you have it all figured out. You're an economist, and yeah, he is an economist.
Right. But what you're not understanding, I don't even know who I'm
Yo,
speaking
eat
to
crow,
because
bro.
Gotcha.
But I don't. Excuse me. I don't know who I'm speaking to because it says Jonathan. So I don't know. I don't know who's the person I'm addressing. But all I'm trying to say is, you're the fact that you're an economist, quote unquote. And I'm not. I don't mean to denigrate your title. What I'm trying to say is, you're operating through
He
this
didn't denigrate it a
theory.
little while ago when you
I'm
were
al-
trying to say he's not.
I'm almost
You're
done.
implying that he wasn't one, and now you're using quote
No, no.
unquote.
Yeah, quote unquote
What
is
I'm
is
trying to
already
say is
demeaning.
that
That's
Yeah, so
what I'm
that's
trying.
when
suspect.
you quote unquote you was trying to use it before to show like, yo, you're not an economist, you're not able to speak on this. But when he said when we corrected, like, yeah, he is an
Oh
economist,
no, actually
you're like,
that's
oh,
not what I
quote
was doing.
unquote.
No,
Go
I
ahead, bro.
actually no, actually that's not what I was doing. I was being sincere because I got the economist vibe from him. I wasn't trying to say be
What the fuck up?
sarcastic.
Okay.
No, listen, I wasn't being sarcastic. What I was trying to do was say the fact that he's an economist is getting in the way of him looking at things from a open-minded perspective. Donald Trump went on
But
the
you
economy.
before you were saying that he needed to be an economist to look at it from that perspective. Make
No,
up
what
your
I'm saying
mind.
is, no, the
Because
fact that he's an
He's
economist,
not looking at it
he is
objectively.
steeped in the theory that he learned to get his degree. So because he's steeped in his theoretical textbook approach, he can't look at the way that Donald Trump is looking at it, which is a much more dynamic view. Okay? He's not
So do
taking
you think that you, sir, are you looking at it objectively when you say to us, wait 30 days, he must know what he's doing. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he must know. Is that objective? Or are you perhaps not
I
objective
don't I
either?
don't pretend I don't pretend to be objective, but I pretend to I'm not pretending to know it all
but
as
I
he is.
pretend.
What I'm not doing, what I'm not, no, I don't pretend to be objective.
What you pretend
Okay.
to
But
be? What you saying?
I do have an ounce of humility when I say, let's wait and see versus I already know what's going to happen because I went to school and I have the textbook and theory to back me up. Take all that and go over there with it because the ways of the world has gotten us to this point. It's time to take a new dynamic approach that's unorthodox. He's a deal maker. Let it play out. Stop shooting him in the foot before he even takes a step.
Can
Let's
I
see
can
what
I can I
happens.
ask a
He
Can
not
question?
only took a
can I
step today, he
can
stepped
I
right in it,
Yes,
as
ma'am.
far as
No,
I'm
that's
concerned. But
according
go
to
on,
you.
chat.
That's according to you, and you're no authority in this.
Oh,
all right,
hey,
so
I'm as
can
hey,
much of an
whoa.
I
authority as you are.
Wow.
In fact, I
I am
would
not an
argue
Not
authority,
on
but
more.
camera
neither
though.
are you.
Uh
We're not
oh.
doing
You're
that.
not. You're not an authority, and neither am I. But my position is wait and see. Your
Why
position is
why do you
I
keep
already
qualifying people? We
because
don't
I'm
need you to
saying
do
I
that.
want
Just
to
make
wait
your
and
point.
see. She's saying I already know he stepped in it.
You've
She's
like
making
tried
a
to qualify anyone that had some pushback on you. Like that's not necessary. You can make your
no
point.
because that's what they're doing to me.
No one has done that to you, but go ahead. You want to
I'm
respond?
just all I'm saying. Okay, go ahead. All I'm saying is let's just wait and see. Give the man a chance. Let's stop roasting him before he even makes a move. How are you going to say he stepped in it when he just broke it
So
yesterday?
what I can say is when he lied about the tariff amounts, that to me was a pretty significant situation. He put up 3 or 4 charts with percentages, said these are the amounts that we are being tariffed by these countries. That was a complete lie.
all
There were
lies.
that was all lies. Now he put up countries, the herd, and McDonald Islands that have nothing on them. He actually put up, what was it, something in the Indian Ocean. The only thing there is an American base, so he's taxing an American base.
And
So
penguins.
he, and penguins, right? So what I'm saying is this was
Yeah, he
not
did
well
tax the
thought out. If you
penguins.
looked at it, you'd see that it was completely. There was a lot of stuff in there. Like I said, all the numbers were wrong. They were all lies. So that should bother you too. That he's
It
making
bothers
it
me if
up,
it were
that he's
Where'd
true,
you
but
putting
I'm in
where'd
no
down,
you
there's
position
nothing
to
uh,
know if
considered
it
or
were
how did
true.
thoughtful
you
about it.
deduce
And
that?
moreover, that apparently his own advisors did not even know until very late in the day, not today maybe, but yesterday, exactly what he was going to do. He's doing this on his own. He too is not an economist. And
Okay.
by the way, he's not a particularly gifted. I understand you think he's a gifted deal maker, but he's not gifted in economic theory or anything like that. He just has these set ideas that he's had, as you pointed out, for 30 years, but the world has evolved.
He's a
Okay. I have a
terrible
Well,
feeling
business
that I'm
how
person.
did you
speaking.
figure out that the
I
numbers
have a
were wrong?
feeling that
All
I'm
of his
speaking
business
to
stuff.
someone here.
You can't say that. You don't know him.
He is. It's called. Look,
Y'all.
I have
just
a
consider. Just look at the results. He's had this whole concept. If you remember, you may not. Nixon was the one who opened up China in the 70s. He comes along afterwards with these same theories of we're going to do how it was before. I mean, it's almost like he's living in the 1980s. Uh, and he has no understanding of economic theory, and he's said it himself. He doesn't understand how the markets work. He said it. So what he's doing is it's he's just making it
okay.
up. The numbers were all made up. He's just making it up.
Okay. So
Yeah,
okay.
you
I'm
kind of got to you
So
kind of
if
got
can
to
it
I?
were
Oh,
admit
that's JB.
okay. Go ahead. I
you
don't want
kind
to.
of
I'm
got
just
to
saying
Oh
if
no.
it.
Okay. Yeah. Let me go ahead and go. Like this is, and I said this the other night, but this is what I don't understand is the qualifications that people are giving this man with no proof. You would not allow, not to mention the crimes, right? His criminal behavior and how he moves. Like, not to mention that. Not to mention how he treats people. Not to mention rolling back DEI. Not to mention laying off thousands of federal workers. He has shown us that the middle class, the working class, he doesn't care.
That's
He
not true.
literally
I think
shows
it.
us every decision that's been made is going to be put on the backs of the working
So I have two
class.
examples.
And you know why some people are able to say, oh, just wait it out.
I have two examples
Some
for
of
you.
you that are saying that, you can't afford to wait it out.
I have two examples.
Your wait it out is 2 weeks.
I have two.
And then you shake
I
it.
have two examples.
I don't and the thing that I don't quite understand,
wow.
we talk about Skull with, as an economist. But I don't know if any of you, if y'all, well, maybe because my degree is in poli sci and public admin. But the thing about it is, I had to take freaking micro and macro. Like, this is basic economics here. I don't understand why why people don't understand that there's theory and there's practice. Like the thing, what he is doing is throwing up Hail Marys and making up formulas to paint a picture. I know because I can do that with data. The thing about it is not substantiated in anything factual. You know where else we've seen this? On Doge. Now, how in the heck are you a whole federal agency and you're posting your updates on social media, on Twitter? I guess Elon is out, and they're communicating quote unquote savings. Now, I guarantee you, if this was on the other foot, y'all would be in an uproar. But I don't understand how you all can have so much faith in someone that has failed several times over. And I
And
land.
and an indicted
I've seen some Hail
criminal,
Marys score
convicted
some
criminal.
touchdowns.
Um,
That's right. Some of these Hail
Chad, I
Marys
have a
scored some
question for
touchdowns.
Chad.
And
Chad,
not only
Yes,
that,
today
ma'am.
Mr. Trump said on the I saw him talking on TV. He says 2 years. You're saying that some people can't wait it out 2 weeks, but he's telling them to
Yes.
wait it out two
He
years.
said 2 years. That's what I mentioned before. People can't wait 2 years. This is ridiculous. Millions and millions of people cannot wait 2 years. And by the way, I think that's wildly optimistic myself, but I don't think it's going to work at all. But he's not saying 2 weeks. He's not saying 30 days like people are asking for. He's saying now 2 years. When he first came into office, it was, I'm going to fix everything on day one. Remember? Now all of a sudden and then it was short-term pain. Now short-term pain turns into 2 years. What does 2 years turn into? 5 years, 10 years, or we went down the tubes? I don't, the idea that Donald Trump knows what he's doing has always been interesting to me. Donald Trump, in some ways, he's a great marketer. Got to give him that. One of the best ever, right? He convinces people, and people glom to his side, and he's convinced people he's on the side of the workers, etc. But if you really look, there's no actual evidence of that. And we see that what? Unemployment figures are going way up. Government agencies have been decimated, and that will impact you. There are people talking about trying to get Social Security on the phone because they didn't get a check that they were supposed to get today. I'm not going to say whether that's true or not, but there are implications that it's been a 2.5, 3 hour wait because people have been fired. What is going
and
on here?
I
And
have
the
a
fact
feeling
that
I'm
people are
speaking
acting
to
like this
Tara.
is like a normal thing and that he's just a great disruptor. No, a great disruptor, it's interesting. When I looked at the budget that the Senate had come up with, it does not cut the budget. In fact, it increases the deficit by $5 billion more. So none of these quote savings are actually going anywhere. And you have to look at the whole picture. If he really cared, he'd be going through the whole thing. He'd be looking at it systematically, but it's not happening like that. And it is really disturbing when you do look at the whole picture. Thanks.
I
I
mean,
have a
Tara,
feeling that I'm
to
speaking
add
to
to your point, if
someone
I may,
named
and I'll be
Tara,
real brief, I
and I
promise.
wanted to
Uh,
respond to the woman
uh,
who said that he wasn't dealing with the middle
okay.
class. Yes, he is. He proposed two things that would directly impact
Hello?
the middle class in a positive way. The two things would be no taxes on tips. Last I
Oh.
checked, no billionaires are making
Okay,
tips.
can I
And
ask
he
you
also
something?
said,
Who's on the
I
Was
wasn't
clock?
that
finished. I
in?
wasn't finished though.
Okay,
Can I
sir.
finish? Tira, is that Tira from way back when?
Yep.
Tira, I remember you from years ago on when you were on Clubhouse. But anyways, there's
This
two things.
voice sounds familiar.
Yeah, someone accused Donald Trump of not caring for the middle class. He only cares about the billionaires and the millionaires. Last I checked, billionaires and millionaires aren't making taxes on tips. Last I checked, billionaires and millionaires aren't. What was the other thing he wanted to
Patience.
do? He wanted to get rid of taxes on tips, and he wanted to do one other thing for them. And he said he wanted to
No
potentially get rid
taxes
of the.
on Social Security was the second one.
No,
If you were
no,
thinking
there was
about
a
that.
third one. There was a third one. There was something about no tax
No
on something
tax
else.
on
Overtime. No
overtime.
taxes on
No
overtime.
tax on
No tax
overtime. It
on
was a no
overtime.
tax on overtime. Last I
Yeah.
checked, millionaires and billionaires aren't working overtime. They're not getting tips, and the Social Security will help a lot of people in the middle class. And not only that, he's flirting with the idea of removing the income tax as we increase our tariff revenue. So please, with the bullshit that this man don't care about the middle class. Come on now.
He
Could I
doesn't care
could I
about the
He
middle
hasn't.
class.
respond to that?
Whoa, 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 whoa,
None
whoa,
of
Tell the
whoa.
truth.
One
those,
He
mic.
none
One
of
doesn't
mic.
those,
even
wait, no, I
understand.
One
do.
Those
mic.
three
One
things
Okay,
he
mic.
said are
Daphne.
better than anything the
All right, guys.
Democrats have
So
come up with.
One
people in
mic.
this room, do you see me? My name's Daphne Christine. Welcome again to Debate the News. If you haven't already, download the Debate the News podcast. You'll see the link above, and we're going to get just a little bit of control. Now that JB has stepped away to make sure that you guys have this episode uploaded, fast and furious. I'm going to get right back to the conversation, not to interrupt too much, but again to remind you guys, we are streaming on multiple platforms, and we want to make sure that we have some decorum so that the audience can all enjoy the multiple voices that we have in here. With that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back
What are
to
the other platforms?
Can
What are the
I
other
can I
platforms?
just all right,
Kira.
let me just respond to what you just said, sir. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Manfinity. Manfinity.
I believe
What you
that's
Manfinity.
Jamal to
what's
give
your
us
name?
some. It's
What?
Manfinity.
Manfinity.
Manfinity. Okay.
But what other
Let me
platforms
just
is this being
respond.
streamed
Here,
on?
Those
Jonathan.
those three initiatives, no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, and no tax on social security, none of that, Donald Trump has not presented any of that to Congress, and moreover, there is no evidence of any of that in any of the bills that the Republicans have put out. So it's a great campaign slogan and it sounded good, but where's the evidence that he's actually pushing those
Give it a
particular policies?
chance.
There is none.
Wait
Have
on
to
it,
be
mama.
that has to be adjudicated, that has to be legislated. He can't just do that. That's legislature, of which there's been perilously little in this particular administration, almost none, like literally nothing. There's been like one bill. He would have to go there and go to Congress and ask them, and there's been no suggestion that he's asked, no suggestion that they're interested in doing that, etc. So I understand it's easy to come up with campaign promises, but the proof is in the pudding, and he hasn't done it.
Unlike any other politician, you don't know any other politician who delivers on his promises the way that this man does. Give him a minute. Give him a second to bring that through to Congress. It's going to happen. But you're judging him on 2 months of presidency when I can't believe why you're willing to make such a harsh conclusion on
We
the
gonna
man
cry all night.
when
We gonna listen
it's
to
so
Crybaby
early
all night.
on. He delivers promises like no other president you've ever known. He's the greatest president that you've ever known, even if you don't want to admit it. Give him a chance.
Man, stop
Wow,
crying.
you're
We
so
tired
quick
of
to
that.
It's
rush off
only
to
been 85 days.
unbelievable. Why would you harshly conclude so soon in this
Man,
new
go get you a
president?
pacifier and calm down, go to sleep.
Back up already. I'm trying to understand how she could be so harsh in her conclusions when
You know why? Because I'm watching a guy who doesn't know how to legislate, didn't know how to do it the last time, got some stuff done mainly because of bipartisanship. And this time he's how many executive orders, many of which are unconstitutional, many of which have been challenged. And look at the way he's doing things. The way he's doing things is not strictly by the book, and it's not even really legal in most cases. If he had gone to Congress and said, look, I want to cut the federal, workforce by X. Bill Clinton did that, and you know what? It worked. You know why? Because he said, I have this goal, let's work on it together, let's get it done, and it was done, and the budget was balanced. It can be done, but Donald Trump doesn't have any ability to legislate or go to Congress and actually suggest real plans. He doesn't have a health plan, we know that. He has a concept still. And what he's trying to do is basically, what you're saying is he's doing everything. What you think he's doing is by executive order. This is not a way to really govern. This is what an autocrat does, but this is not what a president who knows how to use Congress does. And the things that he's been doing with Congress are zero. Literally zero.
it's
Not
not
anything
literally
has he
zero.
asked them for. Not anything. The only thing I will give him credit for today is he actually did something that I liked. He said that I think that voting, there's a question about whether you can vote if you're a new mother by proxy or not be on the floor of Congress. And he said they should allow that. I agree with that. So that's one of the few things. But the reason I'm saying it is because look at how he's governing. He's basically so impatient and trying to do things illegally and doing a lot of things that the courts are going to stop. Some, not all, not all. He'll get away with some, but there'll be many things that he can't do the way he's doing. I don't consider that a good president. Good president should actually work with Congress and govern.
Yeah, but his base, like me, agrees with this approach because this is an all of government approach. It's balls to the wall. We're behind the 8 ball. We don't got no time to be taking these prudent, very judicious steps. You want to
So,
take the
so
traditional
legal.
approach.
The word is
The
legal.
traditional, listen,
We don't have
well,
no
if it's
time to do
illegal,
legal
if it's
stuff, right?
illegal, Tara, you just admitted if it's illegal, it'll work its way through the court
No,
system.
no, no, no.
Let
But
the
but when
system
you
play
do
out.
these things, the courts take time to catch up. So what's happening now? A lot of his actions have been blocked, but it takes time. And in the meantime,
Okay.
he's creating chaos. He's firing people who shouldn't be fired. We all know this. We've heard about it. He is literally firing all of HHS, which is crazy. He's stopping America from being competitive in health grants and science grants. This is nuts. We
You
want
know
to be
what?
the
If
beacon for
you
the
wanted
world. We
to
want the
fix it,
best
Biden had
scientists and
every
the best
opportunity to
researchers
do
to
it.
be here. And what is he doing? Nobody's going to come here anymore because they don't believe there are going to be any projects.
Okay, I know.
Universities are in turmoil. This is not how you make America first.
I would
Well,
urge you
I
to
don't see
stop
any problem with nobody
catastrophizing.
not
I would
coming
urge you to
here.
stop catastrophizing about what you think is going to happen. I would urge you to respond to what's actually happening and stop saying that this is going to happen and this is going to happen. You're
It
working
has
yourself into
happened. You don't know. I
you're
know
no, but
plenty.
you know, but
I have to
you're
tell you
working.
that close relatives of mine work at colleges and universities. And
I
what's
know.
happened is PhD programs have been stopped because they can't afford to fund them. What's happened is they are telling students not to return back to their home if they're from another country because they're worried they won't be let back in again.
Those are
All
all
grants. And
overreactions.
even though the Trump administration was told they had to give money to, for example, Harvard, for the contracts that currently exist to do research, they have not given that money. That I know for a fact, okay? So they've stopped research. This is actually what's happening, not what I'm making up.
No,
It
I'm talking
sounds like
about
a lot of
when you
fear
say,
mongering.
yeah, it's a fear mongering tactic when you say, oh, well, no one's going to come here anymore. And these are all overreactions
I
by this
just
person.
told you the facts as I know them. Can you
No, the
dispute any
facts.
of
But I'm
them?
talking about the conclusions that you're drawing from the facts are
It
overreactions.
doesn't really
And
matter. I just told you exactly what I know, that contracts are not being paid, research is being stopped, PhD programs are being stopped. Johns Hopkins, I believe, just stopped its School of Public Health, just like defunded it. This is not going to help us. You do
but Tira,
understand.
here's what
But
I do
Tira,
know:
very
Donald Trump is
Tira,
not
skeptical.
doing
can
anything.
Sure.
can
Donald
Go
Trump
I
is
on.
add,
not
can I
doing.
give him
Yeah,
some facts?
sure.
Mo, did you know that Air Canada, and I'm in Canada, had to do the rescheduling? This Canadians, they were 40% down. So they had, because people are going elsewhere. Did you know that there are universities that are telling their people who are going across to do meetings and presentations, go at your own risk? Did you know that all over the world, have you been on the different media and see all the different people who say, I'm not going to the United States? Maybe not for now. I personally am not, I'm not coming, and I'm just one person. So that's your evidence. And I land. And if you want me to go and find evidence to put in the chat, I'll do that right now.
Thank you, Canadian.
Old Canada
What I
strong.
find you know what I find interesting is that once people really hate you, it's hard to turn them
Oh
around.
yeah, that's
And
so
when you
true.
have it's hard, it's very hard to turn people around when they have an opinion about you. And then the news media is really deep. It's deep how they can form opinions about you and create hatred from a social level. I'll land right there.
How about this too? The fact that once you, like you said, once you believe a lie, you can't believe the truth. Once you believe all these horrible things about the man, everything he does is going to be evil. So, I mean, you can't win with people who already have their minds made up. You can't, no matter what you present.
Yeah, but if you do things that reinforce why people have a negative view about you, that is your problem.
Well, it's not really a problem if you just don't, engage with it. Just keep doing what you stay focused on the goal at hand.
No, but
The man is following is delivering on his promises. He campaigned in poetry, and he is delivering in he's governing in prose. You know what I'm saying? So she's saying, oh, he said this and he said that. Yeah, that's because when you're campaigning, you campaign in poetry. You use flighty language to get across a view across to millions of people. But then when you're governing, you govern in prose. You govern in what is in front of you. And the fact that he's taking this balls to the wall approach is upsetting people because yeah, it's disrupting the system. And that's what people voted for. We didn't want someone like Biden. If Biden wanted to do something with the with to cutting the federal agencies, he should have done it in this stepwise approach. Biden had every opportunity to take care of the border. He had every opportunity to deal with government waste, fraud, and abuse, but he wants to do his whatever he wants to do. His approach was horrible. Donald Trump is taking severe, strong, aggressive action, and people are going crazy about it. I appreciate it
Biden
because it's
let
long
in
overdue.
20 million, 20 million. That, you know how many people that is that he let across the border in 3 years? 20 million people. That, just think about that for a minute. They were living in New York at the Helmsley Suites. I've been to the
Oh, they
Helmsley
weren't
Suites.
living at the helm. They were living at the Hotel Roosevelt. I don't know what you're
They were
talking
at,
about.
well, the
Helmsley
Roosevelt
Suites. No,
and the
not the
Jamal,
Helmsley.
they
Helmsley.
don't care
Helmsley.
about that, bro,
Okay,
because they
listen.
think
Can
that
I
this
ask?
country was stolen.
Does anyone here, I'm Manfinity, do you think it's a good idea to stop cancer research, for example? Is that a good idea or a bad idea?
On its face, no, because of what you're saying, but I don't know if it's duplicitous. Is the same research happening somewhere else? Okay, ask the real questions. You're asking a very what you call a gotcha question. Of course, no one would say, yes, stop cancer research. But is it happening here, there, and everywhere? Is it happening in a way that's actually going to have some impact? Where are the method sources and how
So
are they doing things?
these are grants that were
Well,
approved by
I'm
the
I
going to
don't
tell
care
you.
about
NIH.
that.
Yeah.
You
Who was talking?
that's
Sorry.
a gotcha question.
No.
That is a
Who
gotcha question.
who was
Let's talk about
it was a these are grants. Now you understand with research you don't always know where you're going to come out. You have a theory, you have a hypothesis and you do your research, right? So we don't know whether the next great discovery would come from XYZ or ABC. We don't know if there aren't projects that perhaps are at odds with one another, but you don't know because who knows what's going to work and what's not. At the end of the day, if you have a project that has been approved by the NIH and was not one of your diversity projects, okay, forget even all of that stuff, right? These are just strict scientific projects, and you say, I don't want to fund this anymore. I'm getting rid of the people in charge of it, and I'm just not going to pay the contracted price that I agreed to. Is that a good idea? Is that right?
again. The way you're framing it, no, but I don't know that what you're framing is correct. So I have to take it with a grain of salt.
So
I'm
why
sorry
don't you
Okay,
look it
well,
up
because
and then come
let me
back?
just
Because,
go.
I'm
sure,
sure there are
Saul,
things that
go.
you're leaving
Let
out.
me
And
interrupt here and just explain to you that all these NIH grants have been public. They were public. They've always been public. They're still public. They're easily searchable. You can actually look them all up yourself. They're public information. So if you actually gave a shit, you would be able to determine in literally minutes exactly where this money's going. It took me all of 5 minutes to find every single hospital in my state that has a grant for cancer research, what kind of cancer, what exactly they were researching, what the purpose of each study was, who was the study on, was it on men, women, children, right? I mean, it does not take long.
okay,
So
but
don't
did
try
you
to
do research
obfuscate
as
and
to
say,
why? Did
well,
you
it
do
could be
research?
this, it could be that. Dude, it is all public. No one
Right, but did you?
hides
But
cancer
what is?
research, bro.
But what is the
Nobody hides
research?
it because we all agree, or at least we did until it got stopped, until the Senate stepped in and said, you better keep paying that,
Yeah,
right?
but did you
So,
do
like,
any
we all
research?
agreed, except somebody, one person,
So,
disagreed. I
so did you
land.
do any research to find out why those grants were canceled? What was the reason given by the United States government? What was the reason given? Since you did
Because
the
they
research.
canceled everything. He blanket canceled. He didn't understand, bro. He took
Okay.
an action unilaterally and did not understand that cancer research would fall into all these other grants. That was just one of the many areas. In his very first, one of his very first orders, he tried to actually freeze funding for this Department of Interior, which DOT's under, right? There's DOT and Department of Interior, and someone told him like hours later that like they had to stop working on repairing bridges because that's what that money fucking went to. So I mean, these are the kind of simple, very broad decisions we're seeing made. And I'm not even saying that I disagree with some of the goals. Some of these goals that this administration has, I actually agree with on a goal level, right? Like reducing the budget. I agree with that, man, but like it's how you do that and how you get there that matters. That is the skill of
So
governing. And I want to see a higher level of skill there from this administration. I'm seeing a lot of reckless actions mixed with some actions I agree with. I would rather see a lot more actions that I agree
Let me ask
with.
you this.
And I
Let me ask
land.
you a question, sir. Is it possible that the complex nature of how things, in order to undo a lot of the BS, maybe it's so tangled up that in order to pull this string, there are unintended consequences that have, you know, a consequence that you don't want to happen, but in order to fix the mess that we're in, maybe there are going to be some unwanted casualties of war, because this is, a very complex, tangled web that they've woven over the last however long, and maybe there's no way to undo it without there being some unintended consequences. Could that be? Maybe, maybe not. You're saying you can govern in a way where you can keep this over here but not touch this and do that. You're making a presumption. I would say it seems very complicated. And if you pull this string, it affects that. And if you pull that string, it affects that, which is probably why it's never been done in the past, because everyone's afraid to take a step because it's going to do this or that. But he's like, you know what? Rip the band aid off. At the end of the day, we'll get to where we need
Yeah,
to get
fuck
to.
the world. Fuck up
No,
America and fuck the
no,
fucking
no, no,
world.
no,
And
no. But
Tara,
see,
I'm sick
this
of
is
listening to all of
this.
you fucking
I don't care
assholes.
what you care. I wasn't done talking. You gonna let me finish, please? What I'm saying is, we needed a leader with enough balls to take the incoming from people like Tira and yourself, sir, who's willing to take the heat and do what is right, even if it means he's got to be called a devil and a Hitler. He's willing to rip the band aid for future benefit, and he could care less about what he's labeled. He wants to fix the problem. And that's the kind of leader we've been lacking. We have people like Biden, who's a sleepwalker. We have people like Obama, who's just a people pleaser. But here's Donald Trump, who is doing what he feels is right, and he's not pulling the wool over anybody's eyes. Everything he did, he says he was going to do. We're getting what he
Y'all
said.
have got
He
to put
told us
y'all
about.
booties up. All this booty
He
clapping
told
for
us what he
Trump.
was. He told us
Listen,
what he
Chad,
was
I
going to
like
do.
this guy. I don't know who he is,
Why,
but I'm
why,
listen.
why, why does
He
it have
told
to
us what
be
he
Daphne,
was
he's
going to
right
do,
up
booty?
your
and
alley.
he told us.
I know. Okay, chime in, chime in.
Why does
I
it
want to hear
have
from you,
to be
baby.
booty clapping?
I was like,
Can
Daphne
we
loving
hear
this,
from
but she
chat?
quiet.
Chat, get in there because I was
Come
just
on, come on.
gonna lock down my phone, man, with all this shit going on here. Chat,
Right?
go
I
ahead,
said,
chat.
this is crazy.
He
Like,
told
like,
us.
because like all of this faith, and I said this before, but I couldn't really finish it. All of this faith that you have in a man that has not proven his worth to you,
But he
has
has
I
yet
though.
put
to,
my faith in
has yet
Jesus.
to. And the
No, he
reason
has.
you, but listen, I turned my phone down and I could still hear you. So I think you can wait just a little bit. And was that Dr. Hope over on Clubhouse over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Going crazy, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, I heard that. Hey, Dr. Hope. So yes, no, like when I was at in ethics, right, in DC, like I think his financial disclosure was about maybe 77 pages, which is a lot for financial disclosures, right? And it's like itty bitty holdings here, itty bitty holdings there, because a lot of his money is made by him putting his name, right, on real estate. Like that's where a lot of his wealth, because he was given wealth, but a lot of his wealth was built around that. And I honestly feel that that is what he is doing with America. The fact that you all think that he is moving his chess pieces, that you are a part of the board and you're going to reap the benefits, and he is looking out for you. There is nothing that has been proven that he is looking out for you. Not one thing. You like the moves that he's making on that chessboard, we're not even on it. Okay. It is millionaires, billionaires, all of them, and maybe Manfinity, maybe you're a millionaire or billionaire. I don't know. But that chessboard, we are not included. The moves that he is, and I said this, and I don't know if we got it. The people that he let go in that federal agency were the lay people, were the workers. It was not leadership. And if the system, if the processes are broken, you start with leadership. You don't start with the people that's executing the mission. You start with the visionary and you go from there. But that's not what he's doing. Why? Because he has to put it on the backs of someone, and that is the working class. Because if he wouldn't dare put it on millionaires and billionaires, because most of the things that he's doing is for them. So, like, I don't understand how, us everyday people. are rallying behind somebody that has not proven the like results, right? Doesn't have the experience. The other thing though is, how long is long enough? What benchmarks are people waiting to see? Right? If pricing and if we are started, I think I read an article by Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban said today that people need to start, like, go to your big box stores and kind of stock up. But what he fears in the automotive industry and other industries could follow is, people, or these companies, should not have to, shouldn't increase pricing right now. They shouldn't, if they have the stock, right? Whatever they have on hand, they should keep the same price. But what most likely will happen is they will increase the prices, because they are eventually going to have to pay more for those goods that they've had, for because of those tariffs. So even their current inventory, they're going to increase the pricing on that. And like, we don't even have, and then all of the agencies that will protect us from that, like the consumer, the, what is it, CFB, those agencies, those oversight agencies to protect us, they're being attacked. So not only is he making decisions, financial decisions that will affect us, but we are also, American people are no longer protected. So what is he doing to help you, sir? And how
All right.
long, like, what benchmarks would you have to see to believe? And I'm not just going to ask Manfinity, because I would love for other people to chime in. What benchmarks do you all have to see, whether good or bad, to make a more sound decision
Do I have
on
to
the
answer your
success
question, or can
of
I
this,
can
of
I can I
tariffs?
contend with a lot of the things that you said that were not true in my view? Because I can contend with some of the things you're saying. Because a lot of what you're saying, you're basing it on a sand castle. You know what I'm saying? May I address you by your name? What's your name, man?
Chap.
Chap. Chap.
Chat.
Oh, chats. Okay. I think that's what you said. But the
Or,
thing
or
is,
you can just say ma'am, queen,
ma'am. Okay.
queen,
So the
big
thing is,
mama, whatever you want to
you
use. Which one?
Big Mama. I like Big Mama. Big
Hey, let's
Mama.
go.
Miss Lady.
Big Mama. Big Mama. Okay, Big Mama. Listen, man. I'm sorry. So the thing is, right? You're making a lot of you have some preconceived, settled notions on the man. You think he's for the millionaires and the billionaires. Tira responded to what I said about the taxes on tips, taxes on overtime, the fact that he wants to get rid of the income tax for anybody less than $150,000 a year, as the tariff revenue comes in. Are all of those things that you think he's doing for his millionaire and billionaire friends?
Great question.
He's expressed a concern for the people making 100. He said if you're making
When
100,
he was
150.
running, has
No,
he
he
done
said
it
that since
since? When he
he
was
hasn't.
running, he
No,
did
he
that to
made
get
that the
votes.
first time he
But
made
since
that
he got
statement.
into office, that has not been a focus of his at all.
Right, but no, that's the first time he made mention of no income tax under 150,000 was since he got into office. He said, as tariff revenue comes in, we're going to look at getting his, actually, I can't remember the guy's name. One of his representatives said that in the NBC interview. He said what he wants as a goal is to remove income tax for all earners making less than $150,000 a year. Okay, that's not targeted to millionaires and billionaires. As his vision plays out, that's going to come into play. Not only that, before he ran for office, he talked about no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, and no tax on Social Security. How can you say he's not considering the lower class or the middle class? It's just not. It betrays what he said. So unless you're going to call him a big fat liar when all he does is deliver on his promises, I don't know where you're going with that. So
He's
Wait,
a
that's
big
he
fat
is a
liar.
liar. You do
Wait, wait,
understand that there have
Church.
been
every
30,000
politician is a
lies
liar.
already. It's so attributed
Every
to him. He
politician
makes
is
up
a
stuff all
liar.
the time. By the way, is the Ukraine war ended? Not that I can tell. Gaza
Oh
is still
Lord.
under
Oh
attack. I mean, he
Lord.
hasn't done any of those things. And quite frankly, yes, he does keep some of his promises. For example, the DEI stuff, that's a big deal to him, and he's done a lot of stuff with that, but he hasn't done much, if anything, with economic promises to workers, etc. There has been nothing,
It's
zero. And
2
like I
months.
said,
He's
if
8
you look at
weeks
the
in.
budget in the Senate and he hasn't said boo about it, it creates another $5 trillion, whatever it is, of additional deficit. There is nothing
I
in there
wanted
that
Big
would
Mama to
help
respond to what I said.
people.
Big
Okay,
Mama.
she's
Hey,
just
Big
saying. Can I
Mama. What do
respond?
you think about what I
I have a
just said,
submission.
though? Do you agree with Tara,
This
Big
is
Mama,
hey,
or
man,
can you?
Fanity, one
One,
second.
one mic, thank you. Hi. I just want to chime in just for a second. I haven't contributed much tonight and I've been waiting. And so I just like in response a little bit and contribution to this conversation here, Tira, what would you say? You know, you're saying there's been nothing, but what would you say about, you know, for example, at least for one example, the bonus depreciation that, you know, Trump put it, whatever they called TCJS or whatever they were back in with the last time he was in office. And I know that we're about to run out in 2025, you know, but that really helped out the economy, at least in my opinion. And I'm sure from a lot of other folks. I don't know if Scald wants to jump in there, but you say that like nothing's happening. You know, he's coming at this for a second time and doing this all again. I mean, at least by the looks of it, to little benefit of himself. So, what do you say to that, Tira?
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with what does that acronym mean?
You know, I don't remember. I was trying to remember what it was, what the acronym, you know, what the exact thing was called. It's the tax relief for the bonus depreciation for the 5 years. Is Skull? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. And, you know, that was actually a pretty good move from him. It allowed you to take a balloon deduction, right? And,
Right.
so it allowed you to,
It was 100%
it was a
5
way
years.
to, it was like, it's like a little different than amortization. But yeah, so basically an additional first year depreciation allowance on like CapEx expenditures, right? So it allowed you to and encourage people to invest in capital, like in their businesses. Like if you could buy a truck, you could take like additional depreciation on it, which is like great for a lot of tradesmen and things like that. And very blue collar workers really use this pretty heavily, and that was actually pretty beneficial policy that he did.
Thanks for chiming in.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to Manfinity who was responding to me. So I gave you examples. Okay, I did. The other thing is, I don't know if you are aware or others are aware that Republicans are split. They're voicing their concerns about these tariffs. The chief of staff said that other senior officials said that like you had lobbyists, they've been contacted by lobbyists, CEOs, asking for a more predictable tariff agenda. Because I asked about benchmarks, like what benchmarks would you have to see, whether positive or negative, to figure out if this is a good or a bad thing. And he said 2 years. I am sure that people are going to start panicking, and if not already, because we're seeing that in the market, like immediately, if not in a month, right? And so, like, let's say we see some positives, right? Then hey, you know, we're heading in the right direction. But most of your economists are saying that this is going to like hurt the working class, and not just the working class, it's going to hurt America. On top of that, we forget about diplomacy. America is saying we do not care about the relationship that we've built over decades, the wars that we have fought together, the allyship, right? The battling COVID and other pandemics together. Let's forget about what we had to do to negotiate to get here. How many lives were lost just for us to be allies? And for Donald Trump to say in less than 30 days, I don't care. I'm going to make up a formula and make you seem like a bad guy. Well, what do you think? How do you think these countries are going to respond? Like if you had, say you had a friend that acted like that, it was like, listen, I don't trust you. Okay. We were cool, but you did, and you slept with my girl. Okay. And I don't trust you. This is going to happen. Right? The relationship is over. This is a friendship you've had for years, but now you can't trust them. And I feel like these countries are like, we have to deal with this for 4 years. Who we are beholden to our citizens, but we are not going to like allow Trump's ego and whatever negotiating tactics that y'all love. We're not going to allow his ego to destroy what these other countries have built. Like, they have the responsibility to their constituents. So it's not just about America, it is about diplomacy, it is about foreign relations, right? And it's about relationship. And I don't know if if some people fully understand that. And I land.
No, I appreciate that. But listen, are we
Just
sleeping with a girl, or are we just asking you to pay for your own lunch sometimes? You know what I
tell
mean?
it, tell
Girl,
it.
they want to take us on coffee dates, child. They don't,
Lord.
they don't want us to eat food no more.
How come my
Who's
chat
gonna
is
jump
not
in?
working? I clicked the chatter link so I can
That's
look at
such a
y'all on here.
simplistic way of putting it to say, that what Daphne was doing a while ago is so
I clicked the
simplistic,
chatter
guys.
link.
For
It's not
those who know
working
the
for me.
history of the tariffs and everything like that, I'm out.
So just to
Well, you're
I
support what
wanna
welcome.
I
Daphne's just
wanna
Welcome to
get
said,
chime in.
into
We'd
chatter.
love to
How
hear
do I
just
get
more.
on
can,
chatter, everybody? I clicked the
just
chatter
just
link.
to support what Daphne just said, the
Look in the
fact
chat on
that
that other app, and they'll help you over here. Just look on
the
the app store.
the fact that
Who's
countries have
chiming in?
now decided
There,
that they don't support.
there was an agreement. There was an agreement. And how many times are we going to say there's a basket of goods where no tariffs are paid on? A whole basket that you both agree on, and it is not up for negotiation yet. How many times are we going to say that? And how many times are we going to say above that amount you got to pay? Don't go over the quota or else you will pay. And none of the countries had gone over the quota. The information that Mr. Trump is giving you is not right. And you guys are not prepared to go and research it and to go and read. And if you are not prepared to read, the Bible says you will die for lack of knowledge. So I'm done, guys. I've said this in this room. I've been saying it for like 2 weeks. I'm tired.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Make America great again. We're gonna be okay, everybody. Donald Trump is your fearless leader. He's gonna bring this country back. You just have to be patient. You guys are judging him too soon. Wait. Wait and see. Stop pretending like you know everything. Wait and see. And I will give him 2 years. Let's wait for the midterms before we have any
2 years?
serious.
You're going to give him 2 years to destroy the country? Great.
No, but I'm
I'm
saying,
going
did
to
you
give him
give him
like a
until the
week,
midterm?
maybe.
Give him until the midterms before you have any
No, I'm not
serious
going to give it.
analysis.
Why should I? Look,
You
You
don't
don't
have
even have
to.
that much
No, I'm
time.
giving
And
you.
Jamal, you're a fucking asshole. And the guy in Clubhouse, fuck you too. And Jonathan Bing needs to come
Whoever
in
that is.
and
Oh,
stop
hush your
her
mouth.
from getting
Go get out of here. Go get
completely
out of here. Go
overwhelmed.
somewhere.
This room
Go
just went
somewhere. Ain't
so
nobody want to hear
freaking
you.
south, I can hardly
I'm
Go.
not
handle it.
Don't
overwhelmed,
nobody want
Dr.
to hear what you
Paul.
got to say.
Please. I feel
Be
I
quiet
perfectly
know,
already.
no,
great.
I just can't handle the
Don't
fact that what's
nobody want to hear
happened
what you
today.
got
Wait,
to
I
say.
just need to let a little steam off. What happened today is very, very serious. And these people to come up and make explanations and hand us bullshit like we're some stupid idiots. I just don't want to listen to it anymore. And I land. Thank you.
Was it Daphne who was saying about the economy and friends and allies? One of the things that I
You
don't
don't want
think
to hear it?
anyone's
Leave.
recognizing is that countries are now thinking that the dollar cannot be backed, cannot be supported. If they do go down that route, 50 years of America's economy is going down the tubes because no one can trust America any longer. That is serious and worrying.
Well, I don't think you have to talk about it as a hypothetical. If you look at the Dixie, the DXY, which is the dollar index, and how the dollar is pegged against other global currencies, it's actually been on the decline since Trump's inauguration, and the decline is only accelerated with stock declines. What makes this especially bad is not only is our stock market selling off, but the relative purchasing power of our dollar compared to a basket of other currencies is also getting cheaper. So, for everyone who might not be following me on this, let me try to explain it. Not only is the dollar amount of American stocks going down, but the value of the dollar itself is also lowering. Now, yes, the dollar does fluctuate over time. It goes up, it goes down. I don't want to get too far into this. I many years ago had an internship in London, working in a lot of foreign exchange goes through England. And why is that? It's because England, the sun never set on the British Empire at one time, right? They had so many holdings that truly, no matter where you were at in the world, the sun was shining on some sort of British subject or colony. And now, even to this day, the majority of currency exchange goes through the London Forex. But this should be a somber reminder to my fellow Americans that fortunes can change. Even fortunes of the largest and most powerful economic forces of a given century can wane over time. And we might be seeing that today. And Trump may be intentionally accelerating that with his decisions. And it's interesting to see people justifying this with sort of idle prattle and hopes, right? That some sort of big fancy manufacturing job is going to come back to your nowhere hometown. And
I think
I'd love for that to be your reality, right? I'm here in the Rust Belt, and my great grandparents and grandparents were coal miners, right? I would love that. That once again, we had wonderful American jobs where you worked and you got to buy a house and you got to have kids and you got to have a spouse and everyone got to be happy. But times are different now, and we can't just force our economy back to the way it was. And upsetting everyone else at the table does not make you the smartest man in the room. And
I
I'm going to
think
go ahead and land there.
yeah, you're articulating that superbly well, and I think a lot of people in the room were saying Trump can do these things and he's going to make America great again. Yeah, great, and that's fantastic to think that way, but you have to look at the mechanisms that he's utilizing, and to your point of disrupting and having your allies all thinking what the hell and looking for different places to buy currency that will support what they need to do, that's a terrible thing for America. So it's not simply make America great again. You have to look at the approaches that are taking place and why countries are now thinking, well, we can't trust America anymore and we have to find our own economic blocks. That's not the way forward.
I
I'm
hope you
sorry.
join us over here on Chatter for future talks.
I'm
I
trying to
really
get
like
on
it.
Chatter now, but I'm having difficulty.
But yeah, also the other man who was talking over there. I hope you come and join us over
Yeah,
here. This is
Yeah,
Skull.
the
yeah, I
one
was
who
trying
was
to get
the one who
on.
was
I was trying
making
to get on too,
sense,
but I was having
who just
difficulty over
spoke.
here.
Yeah.
I was having difficulty too. But
Yeah, if you delete and then download the app again.
just redo the
Um,
whole thing. Just redo
Yeah,
it
I
all the
put
way,
the
chat.
instructions in the chat, but we want to keep the conversation going.
and whilst you're doing that, I was just thinking, as it Daphne was speaking about some of the things that have happened immediately, taking away or diminishing the Consumer Protection Agency is the worst thing that could have happened for your average person. You have no redress. If companies are going to be dinging you, where do you go? Where do you go to say these charges are insane? Let's check them out. You can't just get rid of an agency like that.
I agree with that. If
Yeah,
they
and I
let me
said that
out,
the
I
night that
agree
it
with that.
happened, and I reminded everyone that like when I went to school was before that agency existed, right? When I started in college. And so when I walked onto college campus the first time, all the credit card companies had booths set up. So, like, all the different credit cards that you know of had their own little tables set up. And they were like, hey, apply for a credit card and we'll give you a shirt. And I was like, what? And then I finally asked them, I said, will this go on my credit? And they're like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, bro, I'm not like have you run my credit to get a t-shirt, right? But, I asked that question, but many people didn't. I saw tons of people walking around with their different shirts and throwing balls and frisbees back and forth, all kinds of stuff, right? I mean, and this was before that agency existed. And, that's just one thing, right? I mean, we're talking about payday loans, we're talking about title loan places. You guys remember those commercials that would come on late at night? That would be the Native American reservations, and they'd be like, "Hey, we're offering loans from whatever Purple Sky, right? Big Sky Lending or whatever, right?" It'd be some sort of Native American person, and they would carry these crazy interest rates because the Native American places are sovereign, so they weren't bound by our interest rate laws, right? Anyway, I digress, but all this kind of crazy shit existed before the Consumer Protection Financial Bureau, And I'm sort of shocked that people older than myself don't seem to remember this bullshit going on, but it happened all the time, and I land.
Yeah, I don't understand why he. Well, I think he brought Elon just to kind of mask him a little bit and do some of the dirty work. But I think that was the worst movie he's made in this whole presidency was Elon. Now, I don't know that.
Just on that, I mean, we're seeing some things that are happening with all these people and all these different agencies being let go. I don't think anyone would disagree that there may be waste in some of these agencies. So, yeah, let's check it out. Let's see where there can be savings and develop efficiencies. So, someone made a point about you get rid of all the people at the bottom. If you go into any business, surely what you want to do is to observe, speak to the people who've been functioning there, who've been driving things, asking questions, and then making decisions about it. Using that rational approach, you don't make the mistakes that we've seen being made. You don't fire people and then after you've done that, realize how important they are to a project and then have to get them back in again. You don't do that. And then to say, well, there are going to be unintended consequences to doing this because everything was bound so intricately. That is exactly why you take a more nuanced approach. You look at what you're doing carefully. You don't just go in there with some big axe and just knock everything away. You just don't do that. That shows immense stupidity and arrogance.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. And, additionally, one of the most stunning moves that they did was they got rid of the inspector generals, which part of the office of the inspector general is to root out this kind of graft and corruption. And this is why, after they got fired, they got unfired by Congress because Congress said, hey, you're actually not even allowed to fire these guys, right? Because they're sort of one of our independent sort of administrative groups that are above, partisan politics, much like the Federal Reserve. And, there are reasons that these organizations are above partisan politics. And right now you're living through one of those partisan events. And when we transitioned from Trump to Biden, you were living in another one of those partisan events. Because Biden was taking over during the COVID epidemic, right? So there could have been all kinds of wackiness there, but this is one of the reasons that you have certain agencies that are above partisan politics and try to stay elevated. And one of those agencies was the Inspector General's office, and what they do is they author incredibly detailed reports. And in fact, every year the Inspector General saves us tens of billions of dollars in Medicaid and Medicare fraud that they find, and they hunt them down and they charge it back to these insurance companies. They go after them, guys, and they get us money eventually. It does take time. I'll admit that, but they are finding it, right. So my question is, like, why didn't they lean into the existing apparatus, right? Why didn't you lean in to the people that already were making the reports and were already finding it and say, hey, can we do more, right? Instead of letting them go, bringing in the guy that runs Twitter and makes electric vehicles and saying, like, hey, can you fix this? Like, that was a clown show, and it was just wild. And I land.
Why would you say it's
It's
a clown show when he's shown a track record of innovation, of adding efficiency? Why would it be such a clown show to put someone like that to review and analyze some of the inefficiencies and make suggestions to powers that be to make the final call? That seems to me like to be, a genius move. So why would you call it a clown show?
okay.
Because that's not what Elon Musk is good at. So what Elon Musk is good at is bringing first principles engineering. And so a first principles approach to engineering says, hey, I want you to sort of ignore all of the previous rhetoric. And actually, I don't even want you to look at sort of the previous instances of how to do, say, online payments, or the previous instances of how to make an electric vehicle battery pack. Instead, I want you to work from the ground up to design this. And that's a very innovative approach, and it's great for engineering. That's not the request here. That's not the request. To be clear, what we needed was someone who is very good at organizational analysis and transformational leadership. This is something that Musk has shown with the fact that he was hit by literally dozens of lawsuits, lost the company 80% of its value, that clawed its way back to 75% of its total value. So he did get some of it back with Twitter. He's shown we have a real world example of him not actually being very good at this particular set of skills. So I'm not saying he's not transformational or even innovative. In certain areas, he is, like engineering leadership. I think he does a great job. But the question here is, can you bring transformational leadership to an existing organization to create value? And outside of an engineering scope, Elon Musk has never demonstrated that in his career. As far as being very adept, you would almost want people from private equity, right, and stuff like that to maybe be more involved in that. And that's a world that Elon Musk doesn't know quite as well. And I land.
I
Can I
will
just add
respond
to
by
what you're
saying to you,
saying
Skull,
there?
that,
Sorry.
excuse me, I just want to say one thing, if I could. The fact of the matter is that that's an open question whether it's effective or not. I don't know if you saw the interview that he did when he was surrounded by some of his Doge workers, and they just gave an exhaustive, thorough analysis of the inefficiencies and where things are going wrong. The analysis is there. All he's doing is bringing the inefficiencies to the attention of people that make the final decision. He's shown, I mean, you're saying he doesn't have, okay, yeah, you don't have experience in shrinking federal government. Okay, that's a very niche thing. But he's taking those first principles, as you outlined, and he's taking that into government. He's finding inefficiencies. He's bringing it forward to the American people, to the powers that be. We'll see. I think the verdict is out, but it seems like you've already made up your mind that he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just a clown show. Why not just have a wait and see attitude? Why do you have an I already know attitude?
Okay, so
Because
just
the
quickly,
federal budget's already out, my friend. In February, we spent 36 billion more than the previous year, and in March we spent 48 billion more than the previous year. So our
And
year over year spend is increasing. We already have the data. It's increasing. These supposed cuts that he's making have not materialized anywhere on the rolling balance sheets. So I already know he's a fucking liar because I can do basic math. So I mean, that's really where we're at. And a lot of these cuts that he's tried to make, you can't make because it's the 1974 impoundment clause. And what is that? Well, it was created when Nixon in 1973 tried to do the same thing that Musk is trying to do now. And Congress came back and said that, you know what? This could be a constitutional crisis. And we're not going to leave this question. In fact, the exact words they used were, we're not going to leave this question open for future generations. So they very quickly and very poignantly closed the door on this exact brand of bullshit with the 1974 impoundments clause, which said that if the president does not want to fund a budgetary allocation from Congress, the correct way to do that is to file a document with Congress, and then in 45 days, they have to rule on something called a rescission. And a rescission is a budgetary reduction via legislative action, at which point then they can actually cut this from the budget. And so I was saying all of this, I don't know, about 3 months ago on Debate the News. And now we're seeing that as the wheels of justice turn, that's exactly how things have to fucking go. And we've got Mitch McConnell and we've got the new party leader saying that he needs to go through this process and pass the rescissions. And everything that Elon Musk has done is literally for nothing. And most of the data he's generated, you could have got from the Inspector General's office anyway. In fact, their reports are still up and online, so you can actually see that they already existed well before he brought in his large language models, which just told us things we already knew. And I land.
okay, so you're saying these are
Yeah,
things
I
we
don't know
already
about
knew.
that one.
Yeah, what he brought forth is not things that the majority of a lot of the people in this country knew. You might have known it because you seem to be in the weeds. There are many people like myself who are casual, casually paying attention to what's happening. He brought things to the forefront that were not put in the forefront before. Yeah, we could have Googled it if we cared enough about it, or maybe we didn't know where to Google or how to Google or what to do or what to search. But at the end of the day, he's brought more transparency. He's brought things to the light. If you want to say that everything he's done has already been done before, okay, fine. But at least he's put it out there. He's put it in a very palatable way for the casual American, news listener to know what's happening. And now this, in turn, adds more pressure to the government to act more efficiently, and it gives Donald Trump and his administration more leverage to take aggressive action against waste, fraud, and abuse. So you might think it was all for naught. I see great value in what he did, if nothing more than to uncover and put it out there in a much more palatable way than the inspector general might have done. Okay, it's out there now. He went on Fox News. He did the media tours. This is what you do. Transparency in a serious way, not transparency by saying you have something online when nobody looks it up. So I see great value in what he did, and I'm very thankful for Trump doing what he did. And I think I don't know. I just wish you could see things a little bit more with an open mind, but it's fine.
I
Can
think
you
we are
use
seeing
your
things with an
argument
open
to
mind.
put it
So certainly,
succinctly as that
I'm seeing things with
you're
an open mind.
laughing? What? Go ahead. Who's speaking?
I'm sorry. I was just saying, I think we are seeing things with an open mind. We're just commenting on some of the things which are clearly not so good. I mean, I'll give you, because you seem to be a big supporter of Trump, I'll give you one of the things I think that he's done, which I applaud. He's just signed off on ticketing, if you will, kind of excesses. So we go and we buy a ticket from Ticketmaster or wherever, and there's all these additional fees that suddenly turn up in there. So you're really being screwed unnecessarily. So Trump has signed an order that will address that, or hopefully will address that. It's a continuation of what Biden was trying to do with these excessive fees. I applaud that. I think that's a good thing. So it's not as if we're being to be, certainly I'm being one dimensional, but you look at the overall and you see what's going on, and you being objective and not just being a happy clapper for Trump, you've got to say, well, this could have been done in a different way, in a much more efficient way. If this is meant to be saving money, why execute things that are costing money, like getting rid of people, bring them back, they're all going to get paid. That's all additional expenses that wouldn't have been necessary if you'd followed an existing process. The inspector general has
But
been
that's not what's
fired.
happening, sir. It's not just an honest criticism. It's okay. Oh my God, he fired and now he rehired. He made a horrible decision. Therefore, he should not do anything because this mistake was made. It's a breathless, never ending catastrophizing. It needs to stop because he doesn't know what he's doing. Okay, he made a mistake. Okay, people got fired, they got rehired. Mistakes are going to happen. This is the law of unintended consequence. I give him grace because I see the forest through the trees. Yeah, I could say
So,
that because
you're
I wasn't
making
the
the
one
argument
impacted.
that we should eat the $78 billion excess cost that Doge has created by their
No, I
shenanigans
can't
because
verify
you're
what you're saying.
politically
I just don't know
illiterate.
that to be true. It's just that
Because
I don't know
you're
that.
politically
You can
illiterate.
Google that
Because
information,
you
do
didn't
it
know
public
how to
information.
find this shit beforehand. Like what an argument to make. I mean, the gall to make an
No, the
argument
goal
like
is
that,
that you
bro.
you think
Like that's
you
just crazy. That's just
no.
crazy talk. Being like,
How is it
oh my
crazy?
gosh,
No,
like
the
this
95%
guy
of the
laid
people
it
in this
out to me
room,
in a way that I could understand
95%
because
of the
I
people
never
in this room,
bothered to even look at the my government before in my whole life. Like, dude, that's on you, man. That is on
90,
you. And the fact that you
95% of the
didn't
people in
understand
this room,
this,
95% of the people in this room don't know what you know. You seem to have this heightened ability and awareness to do whatever you're doing. Most people don't care enough to sit there and Google, oh, how much excess versus last year. You have this awareness. God bless you. What I'm talking about is the average American who doesn't have the time, inclination, or ability to do what you're doing. So what I'm talking about is Donald Trump is dumbing it down, making it palatable, using Elon Musk's innovative qualities and ability to his celebrity, all of these things to put it out there. There's a skill in that.
That's so
Having an
ridiculous.
inspector general
That is
report
that
on
is
some
just so
.gov
ridiculous.
somewhere,
not actually doing anything.
an
He's
inspector
not.
general report,
He's not
an
actually
inspect
doing anything.
an
He's only
inspector
done a
gen
show on Twitter, and that's it. And now he's being recalled back by his board, who basically told him today in a closed meeting that he needs to get out of Washington D.C. and get back to running Tesla, or else he's fucking out. So I
Okay.
mean, people are done with his shit, and he will be brought to heel by his investors. And he will have a lot to answer for. I would expect investor lawsuits in his future for probably the rest of his life, to be honest with you, for how much he's cost the shareholders
That's
of
fine.
Tesla.
And I God bless him for taking the chance for trying to make America great again. We already knew that he was going to be leaving his office at the end of May. So there's no surprise that
Uh,
this was a temporary role. Okay, he already said May 30th was his last day. We already knew that. So the fact that people think that he's being spurred on by some additional pressure, who knows? All I can say is that I'm appreciative for his efforts. Okay, you know it because you looked at an IG report on some .gov somewhere. The average American isn't doing that, and Donald Trump and Elon Musk and his administration put it in a way for people to pick it up where it's being put down. Okay, and there's value in that because now the government is has some transparency to deal with. So come
No,
on.
there isn't, because
I
if
don't
you do the
understand.
first
I,
step, but you don't do the legal step to fix it, then all you did was create a show. And it's so, and making the argument that like he somehow did something here is nonsense, because he should have people around him. If I'm able to tell you about the 1974 impoundments clause and I'm just some fucking venture capitalist, then I assume that there is a juris doctorate, someone with a fucking law degree somewhere in Washington D.C. that can tell him that as well. So, making this argument is just pure nonsense, because certainly someone has had to have told him the correct steps to do this, and they've just willfully ignored it, because this is just a show. And it's a show for the average American that doesn't understand, and they're mocking you by doing it. It's not a service to you. It's a joke to them, and you're not in on it, and they're laughing. And I
So
land.
it's not a service to learn how deep the waste, how vast the fraud, and how wide the abuse is in a way that wasn't known before. You didn't know about all that crap that was happening at USAID. I know I didn't.
Are they
Okay.
doing anything about it? And also, do you know that? Because guess what? After he took down USAID's website, the 873-page budget report also went offline. And I've emailed several congressmen, and I've yet to get one to send it to me yet. And guess what else? I also tried to FOIA Doge. So did CNN. And guess who else tried to FOIA them? ACLU. And he said that Doge is protected by the Presidential Records Act, and it won't be declassified until 2032, conveniently after this entire time. So the one document that could prove that we were funding, I don't know, whatever the fuck it was, Sesame Street in Iraq or whatever, seems to be missing from the internet, and I've not had a congressman deliver a copy of it to me to prove that. So what you think was happening at USAID is literally what you learned from Twitter, my friend. There is zero proof that any of that was happening. And if you could find it, that would be actually stellar, because so far, even my congressional representatives haven't been able to find that yet.
Okay.
And I
Okay,
land.
but we're only in March or whatever month we're in. We're in April. So just because you're willing to make us listen. I venture to say you didn't vote for Donald Trump. Seem to have I have a built-in bias, a naked bias for Trump. I voted for him. I wonder if you're willing to admit your naked anti-Trump bias. You're not giving this president or his administration an inch. You just want to completely pin them to the wall, and any little misstep that they make, you're no honest broker, although you seem to be very fair-minded in how you sift through the facts, and you saw this .gov with the Inspector General report. Yeah, but you don't care about what this administration is doing because you don't want them to succeed. I have that feeling about you. This presidency to you is a mess, and you can't stand anything that they do, and anything that's even going in the right direction, you're going to find a way to poo-poo it.
Man,
That's the
man, Finley, do you have any concrete evidence of what Skull is talking about? Or are you just gonna sit up here and cry all night? Where is your? He's talking about he's asking for
Damn, Carlos.
information. Information acts. He FOIA'd information. He ain't getting it. Do you have anything to combat that, man, Finley? Besides
Yeah,
your feelings?
the combat is that I can only take this man at his word. I don't know. I say okay. He says he does it. Okay, it's March. Just because he did a FOIA report and he didn't get something back from his you know how busy these congressmen are. Maybe they're going to take a while. Maybe they'll get to you next week. You're operating in this rule that says if I don't get a response by now, then it must be. Let's
But
just wait and
shouldn't
see.
he get a response? Is he
So
not? Is he not the constituent?
yeah, but sometimes they don't respond for a while. You just gotta wait. Maybe they'll get it to him in a minute. He just has to be patient. Who knows? But this man is no honest broker, and you're taking everything he says and you're running to the touchdown with it.
You're not
I
honest,
don't know.
bro.
I don't know what this man is saying is true. I'll take him at his word because I want to be fair. But at the end of the day, we don't know what he's saying is true. He could just be. I could be saying. I mean, I tend to believe him because I don't think he would make something up like that. Honestly. But
Give man Finley some homework. Give him some easy homework to prove what you're saying, Skull.
there's no way to prove it, man. At the end of the day,
Wait a minute.
give this presidency some grace. Let it play out.
Let what play out? What are you talking about?
Let what he's trying to implement play out. Stop trying to judge him so soon into his presidency or make hard conclusions on what.
People
You sound like the kind of guy who sees a house on fire and the house is on fire
I
and you're
can't hear you
going,
through that
let
somebody.
it burn.
Somebody's talking over you.
Somebody on Clubhouse. What are they talking about?
What'd you say?
Yeah, but people are not going to follow him into a burning house. You know, they're not going to follow him into the ditch. We see he's off the road. So what do you want us to do? Let him keep driving? No, you take
You
the
have
wheel.
no choice. There's nothing you can do at this point. He was elected by majority of this country. Most of the country went. All you can do is sit back and talk your shit because there ain't shit you can do about it. He's going to implement his policies the best he can. Come midterms, that's when you got something to say. Okay, he won. So you can sit here and cry all day long about this, that, Elon this, and you can cry and complain all day long about what he's doing. That's about it. So why you want to? Come on, give the
Well,
man a chance. Just sit back and
that's not
wait.
true. You know that's not true. I mean, he can have his policies and start executing those policies. And the members of Congress or the Senate or the stock market, company directors, may come to him and say, what you're doing is causing so much pain, you have to correct the course. And he will do that.
Depends on the issue. With Trump,
Yeah,
he may not. He can. He
the issue is the economy burning. That's the issue.
No, I think a lot of people are willing to go through the burn because we understand that we've been burning silently in a for the past 20 years with horrible leadership who sent us deeper into the fire. You ever heard about the frog in the boiling pot of water? Okay, he's waking us up to it, and he's saying, "Get out of the water," and we got to rip the Band-Aid off. And yeah, there's going to be some short-term pain. I mean, I think people are willing to go through it under Trump because they know the vision. They can see the forest through the trees. But there are people like his naysayer. I'm a yaysayer. I'll admit it. I'm a yaysayer. But there's a lot of naysayers out there who at every turn, just because there's a problem today and a problem.
Why
Listen,
are you yelling, dude? Why are you yelling?
I don't know why I'm yelling. All I can tell you is that progress is not a straight line. Okay, sometimes you got to take 5 steps back to take 15 steps forward, and you're just going to have to be patient with it. And if you want to try to lobby Congress and go tell these people to go do what you got to do. But Donald Trump is in office. He deserves it. He was attacked for however long. Greatest political comeback of all times.
That's good. That's true. Yep. You got it all out. You got it all out.
I can't never get it all out.
Have you got your award tonight? Your trophy?
He said, "Why are you yelling?"
I don't know why I'm yelling. All I can tell you,
all he do is yell for Donald Trump. God damn! Can
you say whatever you want to say, man. You can say whatever you want to say, but you ain't dealing with the facts. The facts is your president.
The man.
Yelling, man, Finity.
Now you want to talk about me yelling? You was talking about me Crying and complaining when homeboy was giving me facts. Here I am giving you facts, and now you complaining about me yelling. How about you deal with the substance?
You can't give facts if you don't
Yeah,
bother to look things up. I don't know how you can
Oh
give facts
please,
and
oh
not look
please.
anything
You
up.
go look stuff up. You go look it up. Let me see.
If,
You have the time.
how can you give facts if you when you admit you don't look shit up? If you don't
That's
know
not
what
true.
you're
That's not
talking
what I
about,
said. That's not what I said.
you literally said you don't look it up.
That's not what I said. I said I'm not. I never go to the inspectorgeneral.gov that this
You
man was
said you
talking
don't
about.
Google. You said you don't Google information. You don't look up information to see if shit's true. You
That is
said
not what I
this.
said. You misunderstood me, sir. That's not what I
yeah,
said.
Those are the words that came out your mouth.
nothing
No,
else.
okay, that might have been the words that came out of my mouth, but you're taking it out of context because what I said was I
I don't know,
don't
man.
Google and schmoogle the stuff that this dude was schmoogling to figure out that these things were already done by the inspector general at a different time on a hidden .gov somewhere. That's what I said. I didn't say I don't Google random information that I'm interested in. What's wrong with you, man? Why are you taking me out of context?
No, because he literally said everything about all the stuff that Doge is calling up is public information. All the stuff that
Yeah,
they're claiming is fraud is
yeah.
public information. You said, well, no one knows that. No one's going to bother to look it up. Trump dumbs it down, which means he knows that you're not going to bother looking it up. So you're going to swallow his bullshit. He
No,
knows
but
that.
that doesn't mean I never Google anything. That means with regard to waste, fraud, and abuse in the American government, I don't
Uh-huh.
sit there and go look up .gov to find out how the waste, fraud, and abuse is materializing. That's what that
You
means. But don't
you would
tell
think you
me
would if
I
you're going
never
to sit up and
Google.
defend the
No, don't
man.
tell me I never Google anything about anything
If
ever.
you're going,
That's what
if
you're
you're,
trying to make point of.
I did
Don't
not
lie
say you
on
didn't
me.
Google anything ever. I said you can't speak facts on this because you didn't look any of it up. You don't know any. You don't know what you're sitting up here. You're saying give Trump. Trump's right. Trump's going to do it. Trump's going to do it. But you have nothing to base it on other than the fact. I get that you believe in the man. I think Trump's done some pretty cool shit. He's doing some shit wrong, but he's done some pretty cool shit.
Let's not
He's done a
forget
lot
that
of things
Trump
wrong.
said, let us not forget that Trump said he likes uneducated people.
I
He
like
just said, "I
uneducated
love."
people too. I think you
You
should
know,
like uneducated. Do you
no,
dislike uneducated people?
he
What's
loves the
wrong with you?
poorly educated because you guys buy his bullshit.
Yeah, but he also loves educated people. He loves
You
all
think
people.
Canada's been taking
What's wrong
advantage of
with
us
you?
when you think Canada's been taking advantage of us over
Y'all
tariffs
are
when they don't
crazy.
have a
Talking about he
tariff on
loves
anything.
all people.
He put a tariff
He
on
does
Japan
love
and
all people.
Japan
That's
doesn't
what
have tariffs
Christians are
on it.
called to do. If you didn't know,
That man's
Christians are
not a
supposed to love
Christian.
all
Don't even
people.
go there.
You're not
I
gonna
am
see me.
Christian and he's Christian. Yes, the hell he is Christian. What's wrong with
Yeah,
you?
Now you
He's
standing on
Christian.
Donald Trump's religion. You sound crazy.
I'm going by what the man said. I'm taking him at his word, just like I took other guy by his word.
Oh yeah.
Donald Trump said he was Christian. Who are you to question his Christianity?
Did Trump
Let's
also
move on,
say
man.
that they're
Please.
eating
Let's not
cats
talk
and
about his
dogs?
religion.
I think Trump said
Say
they're
what?
eating cats and dogs, right?
That's right. That's based on a report in local Ohio. He didn't make that up out of whole cloth. That's based
No,
on a
his bike.
report that
No,
came out.
they admitted it was a
No,
lie.
that's
They
It
literally
that's
wasn't a lie
admitted.
at the
that's
time he
JD
said it
Vance
on the
said
debate
it was
stage,
a lie.
and that's
Let's
another
It was
lie.
a
listen to
lie.
this.
JD
whoa,
Vance
whoa,
said if
whoa,
I
whoa,
have to
whoa,
tell
whoa,
him a
No,
lie.
whoa,
no, no, that's
whoa,
not true.
whoa,
No, you're making
whoa,
stuff up.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Wow.
That story out of Ohio was complete bullshit. We
It
all
was.
knew it.
Whether it was
The
JD
complete
woman,
Vance
the
bullshit or
knew it was
not,
a
wait,
it
lie.
came.
wait,
Donald Trump didn't make it up out of whole cloth. He took it
yo,
from a
shut
report.
your
They knew it
fucking
was a
mouth.
lie.
I live 30
Wow.
You
minutes
don't
from
know
there.
what he knew. Stop
Shut
making
it.
shit up.
Okay,
He
we're
said he
gonna
knew it
shut
was
it
a
We
down.
got
lie.
Uncle Ruckus in the building.
You call me
Shut
Uncle
it
Ruckus.
down.
One more good.
Okay, we're going to shut it down for a moment. I live about 30 minutes from there, folks. I live about 30 minutes from there. And so let me explain this. That initial story, okay, that initial story that came out was cause of a Facebook post, okay? And that Facebook post was made by a woman, okay? And it was picked up by Vance and it was picked up by Trump. And then it got turned over in the national media over and over and over again. And all of a sudden it became that Haitians were eating dogs. Now, what she had said is that a dog had gone missing and she suspected her Haitian neighbors, which was a super racist thing to say. What has ended up happening since then is she has literally been ran out of town, folks. Also, in Springfield, Ohio, the Republican office took down their Trump and Vance signs ahead of their actual visit because they thought it was disgusting how basically their own neighbors were being demonized. Don't forget that these Haitians were invited into this country by Springfield, Ohio, by the state of Ohio, and by the State Department of the federal government. There was a plan here the whole time. That city was filled with a bunch of meth using and fentanyl using people. And this is no, I'm not hating on them. Please, I am not hating on them. But that area was devastated by drugs and devastated by poverty, and they needed a leg up. And these Haitians offered a lot of work, a lot of labor. There were many factories that were boarded up, and there were many buildings that were empty. So they brought a lot of labor, a lot of opportunity, and a lot of help to an area that had been badly hurt by the fentanyl and opioid epidemic. And so to demonize them because of these stories is hateful and ignorant, and it's not true. And I'm not going to stand for that for my fellow Ohioans, and I land.
Thank you.
I have a viewpoint, and I it feel like this crash is essentially on purpose. Um, and the reason why it feels like it's on purpose is because the dollar is really collapsing. And it's collapsing and because usually our cycles that we go through the when the dollar collapse and the economy collapse and they reshape out all the money, it happened differently during COVID, meaning all the money got pumped into the system, but it did not reset the dollar. And so now there's a purposeful collapse that's purposely happening right now. And that's all these tariffs and the fast forward and those type of things. With that being said, there's a lot of countries out there that is getting rid of the dollar and using their, the BRIC system and beyond. They're slowly stop using the SWIFT system and the IMF system, which the tariffs go through. And they're actually just trading money within themselves. And they're also selling the bonds and America debt back to America. So the dollar is greatly collapsing extremely fast. So it's kind of a every man for yourself. And then if you look at African news, you see how they've been kicking out the French, keeping their gold and all their minerals. So the German economy is collapsing. It is a worldly collapse. So, and then also, um, America itself is so overdebt, it could usually, when the financial collapse happened, they could recycle the money. But since they couldn't recycle the money this time in COVID, when they pumped all the money in, like the commercial industry and the commercial real estate industry is already tapped. The housing market is already tapped. The banks is already tapped. And basically humans, with their credit is already tapped. So they're going to use crypto. So, and this is just my opinion, they're going to use crypto because crypto technically they can do that whole play the whole money game and say, oh, crypto is worth this much money, so we can just make borrow. So basically, Trump need the economy to collapse to get the interest rates down to really, really, really low, so then they can then use that money and borrow against and buy crypto. And crypto is going to be the new financial system to connect with the brick system because they are because the world has stopped using the Swift system because the Swift system is what tax is going through, terrorists is going through, and so Trump is
Do you
throwing
really
all these,
believe all of this?
huh?
Do you really
Yo,
believe all of this?
you stupid man.
You can't believe all of this stuff, man. This
Man,
is
if you let him
ridiculous.
talk, let him talk. What you mad? Because you want to be centered all night?
No, because he keeps saying all of these. He's going in a deeper
Let
hole,
let
man.
the man finish.
Let him talk, man. Man,
Okay.
bullshit all night.
Let the
Okay,
I
man
know,
I'm
but
not
at
gonna
finish.
least
go.
If
I'm
it's
not gonna.
bullshit, let him
I'm not
finish.
gonna go all night.
oh Lord.
Okay. Well, this is just a viewpoint. I mean, I never said I'm right, and I'm not gonna argue it down to the point. But this is just my viewpoint. And so I really believe because the dollar is already going out and and countries are already stopped using the dollar and the Swiss system is going out, they're going to try to replace the system using cryptocurrencies. And they're going to use cryptocurrencies to go back into and buy stocks and not stocks, they're going to buy treasury bonds using cryptocurrencies to try to help keep the dollar afloat. Now, is it going to work? Who knows? But I think that's what he's trying to do is purposely bankrupt America just to switch over to a new financial system. And one last thing, in the jobs he's talking about bringing back is because since all the farmers is losing their jobs, their billionaire people going to buy all these farms up for pennies on the dollar and pretty much make them work in their own farms. I mean, it's a whole global um, taking
Agenda. So if you
yeah.
believed all of that, why did you vote for him?
When did I say? Did I say I voted for him?
I could have swore heard you say you voted for him. I'm sorry.
No, no, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I believe that this is what he's doing. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I really feel I'm just saying because all these countries have stopped using the dollar anyway, so the dollar is really truly collapsing. So this is his grand scheme to try to get the interest rates down to then switch over to new financial assets because all the other financial assets in America
I
has
understand that.
right now just truly
Are you
flattened
happy
out.
that he's president, though? Are you happy with all of the other stuff he's doing on the border? What he's doing with all the woke stuff, all the crazy women trying to play in men's sports. He's getting rid of he's bringing a revolution of common sense, getting rid of the fake people coming over the border. And hopefully we'll see what happens with the economy.
This
Are you
and this
encouraged? Are you encouraged by what he's doing on the border and the anti woke stuff? Are you encouraged by that, sir?
Okay. To answer that question, I'm going to answer it this way. Before Trump, when there was a problem with someone of um, African descent compared to another culture, usually it was always frowned upon the African descent person, usually, or the darker complected person globally in the world. And I believe what happened with Trump, with the things that he's doing, it's letting everyone know they don't like you either.
But the question was, are you encouraged by him, what he's doing on the
I
border and his anti woke agenda? Are you encouraged by those actions by this administration?
I'm not encouraged. I'm not disencouraged. I just understand what he's doing, and I um
You say you
am
do like what he's doing or you don't
no
like what
no
he's
I
doing?
know I understand. I,
What happened to your microphone? Hello?
oh
Damn, something happened to your microphone.
oh.
I'm just trying to figure out, do you think it's a good thing that he fixed the border the way he did and he's getting out illegal immigrants from the country? Do you think that's a good thing?
I believe this is what America do, and America
I'm
does it
asking you,
globally
do
to
you think it was a
everybody.
good thing? You.
Well, closing out the border and getting rid of all the illegal immigrants made Nebraska go bankrupt. So it really wasn't
So
in.
you think it's wrong to shut the border down and take out the illegal immigrants? You think we should keep them in here, even though our resources are not infinite? You don't think that since we have finite American citizens like veterans who are suffering, we got veterans on the street, yet and still we're putting up people who are coming into this country illegally and giving them all kinds of amenities. You don't think that's backwards? Where's the common sense in that? Where's the fairness? Where's the justice?
I think when you s- understand what they're doing, my complaint and if I like something or dislike something really don't matter in their eyes. I believe that the true purpose of all of this is really just understanding who people are. And when you understand who people are and why they're moving the way that they're moving, um, I think it's wrong to rip families apart. I
Who's he ripping
also
apart? Why should they come here illegally? Shouldn't they have not come here illegally to begin with? Shouldn't they
well
apply for asylum at a port of
no, I'm
entry?
not talking about
Shouldn't they
that.
come in here the right way?
Foul on the semantics. Foul on the semantics.
Ain't
I,
nobody
I'm
semanticing. I'm
I'm
trying to
I'm
tell you
talking
the
about
people got to come here the right way.
I'm talking about the
Can't
African
just jump the
slave
line.
trade. They just rip people apart.
That's
This is
another lie. And that's another lie. Who are they ripping apart?
Wait, that's foul on semantics. That's foul on semantics.
Who's got the foul? I didn't get no foul. You giving me a red
You
flag
you
or a
got the
yellow flag?
a red
What I do
flag. You
wrong?
got
What I say? What I do wrong?
it's semantics. You don't know who was ripped apart. That's an open
yeah
question. That's
yeah I know.
Yeah, but he's just
you
making things up.
interrogating.
Ain't nobody was ripped apart.
It turned to from questions to interrogating. That was the red flag.
Oh, I'm asking too many questions. Oh, I
No,
see what
no,
you're
no,
saying.
no. It's too many semantic questions that's unanswered for one individual for a whole community.
I didn't hear
That's the
anything
flat.
anti-Semitic.
All right, Bart computer screen.
I
What
got
up,
one.
Bart?
Okay. Well, thank
Hey
y'all. I'm
there,
done
man,
speaking.
Feeney.
What it is with it?
Just living life better than I deserve.
Am I the only
Amen.
one that thought
Shit,
that
man, why
the
we babysitting
irony?
him tonight? Damn it, man. Are we getting paid for this?
Carlos. Hey, Carlos. Come on, man. Stop with the
Are we
bullshit.
getting
Every
paid?
time I say something, you got something slick to say.
What are my
Come on.
invoice for babysitting tonight?
Come on, man. I ain't messing with you. Why you checking for me? I ain't checking for you.
Who's on bottle duty and diaper duty?
That's another lie, man. Stop making up the bullshit.
That's always
Can
you,
we
Carlos. That's always you.
can we understand why don't we need new laws? We needed a new president.
That's fine.
94%
Everything you
decrease.
said is correct, man, Finny. Everything you said is correct. Did the Lakers win
You
tonight?
know it.
Did they win
Come
or
on
did they?
now. Come on now. Come on, man. I'm just speaking the truth. You just have a problem with the truth.
Hey,
No,
Infinity,
no.
I have a question, man.
Yes, sir. Ravi, what's going on with it?
Did you vote for Trump?
Is that a rhetorical question? Come on, man. Listen, let me explain something to you.
He already said it
Let me
earlier,
let me
man.
tell you. The
I
day
already
he
got it
came
down
down the
pat.
golden escalator, when he came down the golden escalator, I saw stars. I said, "This." At first, I already liked Apprentice. He comes down the escalator. I'm like, "This man's about to do something." Then he said the thing with the border. I'm like, "Whoa!" He said, Mexico does not send in their best. They're drug dealers, they're rapists, and I assume some are good people. I was like, "Yo, this dude's off the meter." Then he explained it in a future interview. Then he did the Megyn Kelly debate, and he said only Rosie O'Donnell. This man had me at the door,
As
and
I told you,
everything he said since then, I knew
Ruckus was at the door.
he had me at the door.
You did the right thing, man. You did the
I
right thing.
voted for him in 2016. I voted for him in 2020. And when I voted for him in 2016, I won a year's worth full of free barbershop haircuts, plus $1,000. Nobody thought he was going to win. Won two bets.
You said you won stuff when you voted for him.
I won a whole year's worth of free haircuts because they didn't think he was going to win. I know that black dude was mad when he had to pay for my haircuts.
The
Three
black
haircuts a month.
you said the black dude was mad.
Yeah, he was mad, man. He didn't think he thought Hillary Clinton was going to win. I said,
You
she's
said
not going to win, bro.
you said the black dude like you was that you wasn't.
Well, I said the black dude because he's a black dude from down south. I'm a black dude from up north, so he's just a
Oh,
little
so
different.
you
He's a different species of
so you
black man.
different. So you
He's a
different.
different species of black man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a northern black
Oh,
man. He's a southern black man, and it's a
oh,
different
so
species.
since I'm from the south and you're from the north, and you're a different species,
It's a different species. Yeah, we think
like
different.
like an Uncle Ruckus species versus
No, Uncle Ruckus is from down south. I ain't
yeah,
from down south.
I don't know. They got them up north.
Nah, man. So anyway, I got a year's worth full of haircuts, and I got $1,000 from another friend. Then they cheated and stole the election in 2020, and then he had the greatest political comeback of all times. Okay, Muhammad Ali in the boxing world.
You see, that's what I'm saying. You talking about this like it's a sport. Like
It is a
So,
sport.
so you're gonna vote for him the next term too?
I will. 2028, go Trump. Let's go.
you wore the shirt.
What do you mean? I wore the shirt? What shirt?
How many Trump shirts you got?
No Trump shirts, but I do have a MAGA hat, and I did go to the inauguration.
Okay. You got
You know
the
what I'm
hat though.
saying?
Got the hat though. You
I got the
splashing
hat. It
on.
was a gift. I didn't buy it. Somebody gave it to me.
That's your team.
Come on, man. Donald Trump, man. All the way. I met him too. I was invited to the White House in 2019 for the African American History Month event.
Did
Came
you go?
forward, shook my hand. He shook my hand. I didn't shake his hand.
He touched your hand.
I didn't shake his hand. He shook my hand. He
So he touched
stepped
your
forward and said,
so he touched your hand.
he sure did. My right hand. He sure did.
Did you wash your hand?
I sure did.
Uh,
Stupid.
Wrong
man,
with
I hope you didn't wash it, man. Like, fuck.
Donald Trump, man. He's one of the greatest phenomenons ever. You know what I'm saying? The man is just, and then survived an assassination attempt, 4 different criminal attempts to try to take him down. The man's just
He did
Teflon
what?
Don. Say what?
Teflon. He Teflon done.
The Teflon Don, bro.
True patriot, man. True patriot.
But if I had a representative, boy, it would be you. Boy. If I would have hired a representative, boy, it would be you.
Hey man, hey man, you don't know. I might already be working for the government. You never know. I ain't gonna tell y'all what I do, but trust
Hey
me.
man,
Don't
somebody asked me a
nobody that works for the
question.
government rep that hard. They're forced to rep that hard.
And there's another lie.
You know, no,
You
no.
don't know what I do.
Yeah, you know, no.
All right, I'll let you tell it. But no, I'm very grateful for this presidency. Honestly, there's just so many things that are moving. He's moving a mile a minute in the right direction. And I'm grateful. That's all I can say. I'm grateful because after that last presidency, and y'all want to cry and complain about what he's doing to shrink government waste and fraud and abuse. When Biden was in there, he could have done something. He could have done it his way. Instead of doing it his way, he didn't do nothing. He didn't even know he was president. So come on, man. Y'all want to cry and complain that not you. Somebody said earlier today, I agree with his goal. I just don't agree with his method. Let me tell you something, man. He's doing what
Bring
he's
the
doing.
heat, man. Bring the heat.
You say what? How did they say it again?
I don't agree. I agree with the goal, but the method is what I disagree with. He could be. Come on, man. He's doing something. Give him grace. He's gonna
I
get
do
there.
appreciate how white you make me sound there. I do like that. Go on.
Was that you, Scald?
Yo,
I'm sorry. I didn't
he
remember if that
said,
was you.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Scald. I thought it
No,
was
you're
someone
fine,
else. I
man.
didn't
You're
think it was
fine.
you.
He said,
No.
I agree with the method, but I don't agree with Look at that.
I forgot that was you. I didn't know that was you, Scald. Somebody said that. I didn't know that was you. But yeah.
Amazing white guy impression, man, Fanity.
Well, no, I used
Very
to be a bill
impressed.
collector, so I can speak like a white man. I can
That's
call
Look at
people
that.
amazing.
and convince them to pay their bills, their student loan debt. This is an attempt to collect a debt. All information. Oh no, what was the? This is an attempt to collect the debt. I forgot the mini Miranda.
You're
This is, an,
fired.
this is an attempt to collect the debt. Any information obtained will be used for that purpose. There it is. Yes.
You
Yeah,
were
man.
on a recorded line.
I was a
Got you.
telemarketer first. Then I became a bill collector for almost 10 years. Made a lot of bonus money. Hunted down lawyers to pay their student loan debt. It was a lot of fun. Did you know the student loans are non-dischargeable in bankruptcy? Anyways. Sir, the guy who was asking me those questions, did you vote for Trump?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did
I did,
not.
man.
Did not.
Did not vote for Trump. So let me ask you, are you encouraged by the action he's taken on the border, the removal of the illegal immigrants, and
Hell no.
okay, so what's your beef with that?
What's my beef with that? You must be a
Yeah,
vegetarian.
why
Because
wouldn't you want to bring
you asking
order?
me
Why
about
wouldn't
my
you?
beef. You asked me about my beef. You must be a vegetarian.
So the thing is, right? Why wouldn't you want
Are
to
you a
bring order?
vegetarian?
Ain't never been a day in my life. But my
Cool.
question
Then
is,
go ahead.
why don't you want to bring order to the border? That's my question.
You said order to the border, but you mix some other things with some other things.
Man,
Okay, let's talk
Fanity,
about.
they computer screen can't answer a question like
My
that.
first of all, the question to answer is I disagree with spending concrete. You know, the amount of money he spent on some concrete, he should have spent it in California in some firewalls and some more bullshit for the forest walls for the fire to not spread. To instead of having an incomplete wall that people are going to climb under and climb up, climb over.
So what you don't
In general.
understand, sir, is that the wall is not meant to keep people out 100%. It's to make it
Oh,
as hard as possible for people to sneak into the country because you ain't never gonna stop a
oh.
cockroach from coming in through the
So
door.
how you gonna stop the fires?
So what you do is it's a all of the above approach. You put a physical barrier, then you have a border wall system with drones,
You maybe put some chicken wire up there,
You
whatever it
said
is.
drones? What's the drone for again?
Drones, barbed wire. You put border security. It's a whole approach, but you need a physical barrier. Without a physical barrier, what's to stop somebody from just crossing over the border? You got to have a physical barrier. And again, the goal isn't to stop all. I mean, the goal is to stop it all, but in reality, we know that all you could do is make it as hard as possible for people to sneak into the country. Because look,
Are you trying to convince me for the next election or what?
I'm trying to convince you now to jump on board now while you still can.
to jump on board, huh?
Yeah, jump on the bandwagon now while you still can.
Oh, so you
Because
was
I
a
don't want you
band.
to jump.
So you was a bandwagon at one
I ain't a
point.
jump. No. You can't be a bandwagon jumper when you jump on from the very beginning. I've been
I'm
there
just
since
saying.
2015.
Well, since 2015. So what bandwagon you was on before then?
Hey,
Before then,
computer screen.
I voted for Mitt Romney because I was more of the conservative traditional approach. But I did vote for Obama in 08, not knowing any better. But
Okay, see it.
by 2012, I had looked at Romney, who was the governor of the state I live in. So I gave him a chance, and he failed us. And then he failed me even more under Trump when he was being one of
You
Trump's
say he
biggest
failed
haters.
you.
He failed me as his constituent, and then he failed America by targeting Trump the way that he
How
did.
did he fail you?
He failed me by losing the election to Obama. And then he ran for senator, became senator, and then he failed America, in my view, by
So he
targeting
failed
Trump.
you by losing.
Yeah, he failed me. I voted for him, made me waste the
Damn.
vote.
He failed you by not winning.
Yeah, his responsibility was to win.
And that's funny.
Hmm.
I guess. Sound good.
Hey, D computer screen. Can I help you from not making a dumb statement again?
That's
Hell
what it's
yeah,
called,
you
D,
can.
computer screen?
Hell yeah, you
Yeah.
cannot.
Well, so that wall you're talking about, and for some reason talking about fucking concrete and building something for water, the wall's made out of steel that Biden tried to sell for pennies on the dollar. You don't remember that? So
Mm-hmm.
don't say it was made out of concrete, because you sound like that's something Bane would say. Just completely wrong.
But how's you gonna stop the Cali forest fires then?
Why is that
Right.
Trump's problem? I don't understand. Do you know who the governor of
I
California
mean,
is?
but if you got a budget
That
for
fuckface
but
Newsom?
if you got a budget for an incomplete wall, can't you have a budget for 100
You do understand,
complete
like,
walls?
D, but
Right?
he was
that's like
in
natural
office a
disasters, man.
couple
The
weeks
fires,
when
you
the
can't
fire
stop it.
started.
Illegals, you can.
Hey, D computer screen, hit Control Alt Delete. You're fucking up tonight bad. I don't know
What
if
you
it's a new
trying to
sativa or
you trying to
something, but
shortcut your way to life, Bart? Is that what you're trying to do?
do what now?
You trying to
Do what
shortcut
now?
you try to shortcut your way to life. You said off computers, you did delete whatever you just said.
Control Alt Delete. D computer
That's a
screen.
shortcut.
No, it
That
means
sounds like
reset.
no.
Like
That means you trying to find a
X the
no,
fuck out of whatever
no.
program you're talking through is what
Because
it
I
means.
designed my own program. So when you're
It
trying to tell
says
me
not
three short
responding.
keys to get to a certain point,
You hit
that's called a shortcut.
double click on the
If
left
you didn't
tab.
know.
I know you're not a Mac D computer screen. You say too much like Bill Gates shit to be a Mac user. Anyhow,
I'm all the user.
well, that was fun. Thank you.
So, D, why didn't you vote for Trump? Why wasn't Trump
You can't win me over. Fuck all
I
that.
know. Why didn't you vote for Trump, though?
The only thing I agree with is the data shit that they doing with the government. The government is needs an AI overhaul, and most people in business need an AI overhaul.
Yeah, but why
And
wouldn't you agree? But why wouldn't you agree with some of his policy prescriptions?
that's a prescription.
Yeah, it's a prescription.
As in you got to keep taking it and keep needing it. That's your idea of a prescription.
No, because prescription, sometimes you could take a medication and it treats the issue to the point where you don't never got to go back.
Is that a cure?
Yes, it could be a cure at sometimes.
So would it be more of a vaccine versus the prescription?
You still need a prescription for a vaccine, last I heard.
Are you, are you, are you
Now you want to talk about being semantic? You being all kinds of semantic right now.
I'm just saying you presented his solutions and his
Yeah, they're called policy prescriptions. I
yeah,
didn't make
yeah,
that term up.
but his policies that he wants to enforce, you call them prescriptions out of the gate.
Policy prescriptions. That's correct. That's a correct term.
Well, now you want to call it the whole term. Okay, I hear you. But as far as me agreeing on his policy prescriptions or whatever the fuck you want to call it, it's not about the policy prescriptions. It's about the ultimate solutions.
Okay. What issues do you have with the solutions that he put forth?
So
Great question.
we're in a policy prescription that says get rid of
I thought that didn't exist, D
the
computers.
CFPB, and we're in a policy prescriptions does it say we're going to get rid of CFPB, and what was the solution in the end to replace the CFPB?
The
EMC courts.
CFPB, there's already laws on the books. We didn't need the CFPB. That was just extraneous and
Okay,
duplicitous.
okay. When you say we don't need a department that defends consumers' information, what is the replacement to
We
defend
didn't need to
the?
replace it. It already existed. There was already laws on the books that protected the consumers.
So what is
Great
the law?
rebuttal.
What is the law?
They're all over the place in different parts of the legislatures. You got to look through the laws. The CFPB was a slush fund for people like Elizabeth Warren and her Pocahontas ass that want to just use it to say, "Oh, I'm doing something and I'm doing something." It's just what you call performative. A lot like even the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The reason he repealed some of that stuff is because the laws are already there in the Constitution. All that
Okay,
stuff is just extra.
I get the law is there, and I get a one civilian can be in charge of a department, right? And you just said her Indian ass or whoever you're just talking about.
No, Pocahontas ass.
Whatever Pocahontas was Indian,
That
right?
was offensive. He called her Indian, D computer screen.
So Pocahontas wasn't an Indian. Now I'm being offensive, but he said fucking Pocahontas. Like, come on
She
now.
is a Pocahontas. She is a
Yeah.
Pocahontas.
All right now. All right now.
Come on, man. You already
Well,
know what she did. We don't got to go through that again.
what I'm asking is the individual that you're speaking of. I get that
Pocahontas.
being over a department can make that leader seem like
Senator.
they're objective to what they're doing. But now, who do we report to? Since the laws is in place, should you report the
Joe!
should you
Your
report
attorney
the
general, your
should
local
you
attorney general in your state,
No.
you can go to
oh
your,
so
you
your
know, to your local,
attorney general is going to fix your credit for you?
yeah, they can refer you to the right department or to
Or
the
the
right.
attorney general is now not going to fix it. They're going to refer you to
They're
fix
going
it
to refer
to
you to the most efficient parties that can help you with that.
all
Yeah.
the parties. So are they
Yeah.
having a party or are they listening to my
Nah, you being
concern?
extra semantic. You being extra semantic, man.
I'm
You
trying to
know what
figure
I'm
out.
saying? What's wrong with you?
You said forward to a party. Who's the party?
Ain't nobody said party like that. What's wrong with you?
You said the Congress or whoever is going to refer me to a party,
No,
the
what I said
best
was the
party.
attorney general will refer you to the proper resources.
Okay, so who's the proper resources if the
You got to
CFPB
call the
does
attorney
not
general and
exist?
ask her. Ask the
So,
attorney general.
so if somebody's going to remove a whole department that the whole United States knows about, should we, now we're just referring to our attorney generals and the
Yeah, it's
possible
called
resource.
it's called streamlining. You remember how he's about to get rid of
Oh,
FEMA. He's about to get rid of the Federal Emergency Management Agency because each state got one of them MEMAs. You know what I'm saying? So why you need a FEMA when you got NEMA in New York, you got a MEMA in Massachusetts, you got a FEMA in Florida, you got a GEMA in Georgia, you got a TEMA in Texas. What you need and FEMA for when all they do is just funk stuff up. So
So,
at the
so,
end of
so,
the
so,
day,
so, so with that one, are you saying the solution is having one FEMA for the government versus each one for the states?
No.
no, I just said the other way around. I said each state.
Backspace computer screen.
Come on, man,
Each, each
follow the
no, no,
red,
no, no,
follow
no,
Hit
the.
no.
backspace
You're
a few
saying they're going to
times.
get rid of FEMA.
He
So,
said
so
here
are you?
Right.
backspace, man. He said here backspace. I like
No, no,
what he
no,
just said, man.
no.
Let's sit right there
He
for a
talking about
second.
he talking about all these shortcuts that he don't even
I
use.
like what he just said though. He said hit
So
backspace. Come
you
on, man. He's
probably you probably
creative.
use you both of y'all use backspace because y'all make a lot of errors because y'all making a whole bunch now.
Oh Lord, space bar, space bar, space bar. I'm gonna erase
For
you.
You
sure.
see, yeah, blah blah. Elemental P, act like you type because your bosses was coming, and then continue the situation. What you were saying again?
Shift
I said,
question mark.
I said that. But I don't know why you don't like Trump, man. You seem like you would be a good Trump supporter.
You sound like you trying to sign me over, and you about to put me on the sales deal. Like, what's going on with you?
Come on, man. I told you, man. Jump on while it's hot, because after a while, we ain't gonna take no more stragglers.
Take no more. Who are you?
Who am I? I'm the
Finnegan,
lead. I'm the
it's
leader of
Of
this movement. I'm a
of
leader
Finnegan,
of this movement.
the you the
Fin,
leader of the well of the
I am a leader of this movement, is what I said.
hey, it's not jumping on the wagon, man. It's more like dragging them out of the burning house.
Ravi, man, what's wrong with you, man? Why you hating?
No, I'm with you, man. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm just saying, like, we got to get them on board.
I feel
Like, we
like
got
it's
to
Shark
help them.
Tank. If
Hey,
you're the leader,
Scald, you
and for that
there,
reason,
Scald?
I'm out.
Scald, you there? You're rubbing lotion on your tramp stamp. There's people on the team that need to come up, and somebody said you're the only one that can do it.
Whatever happened to that
Yeah.
lady Chat? What happened to the girl Chat? I liked it her for a second. Where'd she go?
Yeah,
Oh,
she couldn't do it that bullshit, man.
well, wait a
She's out of
minute.
here.
I just brought Jonathan up. Are we shutting down the room for the night, Jonathan? What are we doing?
Hey, man, am I
What?
invited back? Can I come back tomorrow or whenever the next one is?
Oh,
Oh
hell
yeah,
yeah.
man.
If you're still here now, then that means you can. If everybody's still here now, I mean, come
Backspace,
back.
backspace, backspace, backspace. D computer
So,
screen. Take all that back.
Finnegan,
Yo,
you got
man,
to come
had
back.
I
You,
known
you got
Debate the News is this cool, I've
hold
been
on.
subjecting myself to all kinds of horrible treatment in some other clubhouse rooms. On a daily basis, I was being misused and abused based on my commentary on Trump. And I would be
Finnegan,
treated like,
you got to
hmm.
come back the prime time, bro. Like, it will be more fun. You'll find a lot of lefties talking
yes,
about,
yeah, you Uncle Ruckus,
So,
so
but
you
I
can't
was
come
dealing
in
with
all the
Tara
time,
pretty
Uncle
hard. Tara was
Ruckus.
coming for me today. You seen Tara? Tara had
bro.
something to say for everything. I had to hit her up with some.
Tira
Tara was
Oh,
is
coming.
Tira
you
is one of
haven't
them,
seen
but
the half of it,
you
feller.
haven't seen like anything,
It'll be
man.
a
Like,
different experience.
come here
Do
tomorrow
come
at nine
back.
o'clock.
9
You sure you're
p.m.
gonna get
Eastern
kicked
Standard
out by
Time.
like minute
Yes,
two?
sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
Am I? Hold on, but I have a
if
friend.
you're
I have
not
a very good
banned
friend of
now, that
mine.
means you good. You good. If
But
you're
I have
not
a
banned
very
now,
good
that
friend.
means you
No, but
good to come
it's
back
calm
tomorrow.
right now. It's calm right now. I'm not going to be fleeced into it because my homeboy, a very good friend of mine, said he always came in here and Jonathan never gives him 2 seconds to talk. Yeah, I probably know him.
Well, here's the
That
thing, though. You can't take up the whole space. Like, you got to give other people to speak. But yeah, like I think you'll get a couple timeouts for sure.
I talk too much.
Not too much, but you got to give the other people, to say what they say.
Yeah, I just said I was in Clubhouse, so I couldn't understand who was speaking. So now that I'm on this side, I have a little more control because I can see.
If you would have came at 9, 10 o'clock, man, you wouldn't have made it. You
I
know,
wouldn't have made it.
Uncle Ruckus, man, they might have got you up out of here.
But who would have kicked me out? Would have been Jonathan.
I don't know. It would have been, question mark.
Yeah, y'all know my friend Doctor Responsible. He said he used to
Yeah,
love being in here.
yeah. We know
Oh yeah.
responsible from the other side of the street.
He said
You
Jonathan killed.
mean
He killed.
white?
He said Jonathan won't let him talk in his room no more.
Responsible
I
got some
can't talk
responsible
until
got
the
some
street
strong
lights come on.
principles. Yeah.
I have to do it after the podcast, which or midnight is when I'm allowed to talk. When all the Canadians are asleep and the street lights come on.
Yeah, everybody not allowed during main time, mainstream.
Hey, D computer screen, wiggle your wires on your speaker. It's fucking up.
Yo, I like Bart, man. He got
Shut
all of
up.
these analogies.
This he got an analogy book in front of him.
He's pretty good though.
Appreciate you.
He's creative. I'm trying to think of one. I can't think of one.
Alright, so do I shut this down now? What do I do? Do I end the room? I don't understand.
What are you talking about,
See,
Skull?
hey,
Scald, was I right about you? The fact that you have zero ability to be an honest broker as it relates to the administration?
What? Oh no, yeah, you're completely wrong, bro.
No way, man. You don't give this guy a chance at all.
He
You're a
said
big time.
completely wrong.
You're a big time
Y'all,
hater on
y'all, on,
Trump.
y'all, on, y'all on both sides of the coin. So I mean,
Yeah,
get
but
your
the thing
respect.
is, I at least can like
You a you a
criticize
you a
Trump. I
you
have
you a,
two
you a,
major
you a Uncle
criticisms of the Trump
Ruckus, and
administration.
he a Uncle Joy,
But
Uncle
that's
Joy.
another lie. But
You
that's
know,
another lie. And that's another lie. Because the thing is, man, I can criticize President Trump. I have two deep criticisms of the Trump administration
Here,
that I
bro.
keep
This is
that
my
I.
MAGA hat right here. Look at it. Look at it, right? And it's got the voting stickers on it, man.
That's really you,
I was given this in
damn
yo,
2016.
son,
Clubhouse. This is nothing
Yeah.
like
damn,
Clubhouse.
Yeah.
that's messed up.
Bro, I was given this in 2016 at the Republican National
And
Convention.
you
I
you,
voted
you,
for
you
him.
still got the hot hat. What you
Yo,
got
he
going
showed
on
his
over
face
there?
on. Yo, Clubhouse ain't got nothing on chatter, man. The dude just
Yeah.
showed his face.
I voted for him in 2016. I've said that, man. But,
So what happened by 2020?
He said, "So what happened?"
oh, well, you know, sometimes you just got to admit that you were wrong or you've been tricked, whichever you feel better admitting, and then go from there.
Yeah, but what did you feel most deceived by?
great question.
I just felt he handled the pandemic fairly poorly. But that was about it.
Okay, so other than that, you were on board with his agenda. So because of his dealings with COVID, you voted for Biden.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
Oh my God!
Biden deported more people than he did in his first term. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh
Damn,
my
damn.
Hey,
God!
Manfinity, I think we can
Factual.
answer this or figure this out. Scald, how many booster shots have you had, and did you wear a mask like the entire time?
No, I work from home, bro, and I did get the original shot. That was it.
Damn, school, you fucking up, man. You fucking up.
I can't believe that you think that Trump's, was it 9 months, however long it was before the election, that conveniently the vaccine came out the day after, was compared to what Biden allowed Fauci and the rest of the corrupt fuckers do to our country for 2, 3 years. It's not even comparable. But that's my opinion. So that's why I asked if you're, because some people like want to justify it for the stupid shit they do because the ego won't let them admit they're wrong. It's a sickness. I used to have it, but go ahead, Skulls. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, you just wanted to know. I mean, my voting record went like this: it was Obama, Trump, Biden, Harris. That's how it went.
Do you hate women? Is that why you wouldn't vote for Clinton?
No, I just here was the biggest
Skull.
thing, man. I would have voted for either Bernie or Trump. Had Bernie actually gotten the Democratic election, which he was supposed to get, and they took it from him with super delegates, I would have voted for him because here's what I just wanted. I just wanted someone to bring radical change to our government. And I honestly didn't care which direction. I just wanted someone to get in there and fuck things up. And if Bernie had gotten that nomination, I would have voted for him over Trump. But when it was Trump versus Hillary, Hillary just seemed more of like the ho hum, business as usual. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing, right? And so I was like, fuck that. Trump's going to fuck things up.
Skull,
Let me
when
ask you
was
a
the last
question,
time
Skull.
your
Hold on to your
candidate?
computer
No, no,
screen.
no, no,
Hit
no,
the mute
no. Shut up.
button.
No, no.
Finish it.
I'm trying to ask
All
Skull a
right.
question real
Well, I
quick.
am too. I bet mine makes sense, but you go
When was
first.
your last? When was the last time your guy won, Skull?
My guy won?
Your guy. When you
Well,
voted for them and they won.
that would have been Biden.
Damn.
Great question, D computer screen. Hey,
It-
Skull.
Go
Going back
ahead,
to what you
Bart.
said about wanting
What do you
radical
think?
change made you vote for Trump. Was Obama the president prior to that?
yeah, and I voted for Obama
I
twice.
know. So, like, what did Obama and the Democratic Party do to make you say, "I got to have some radical change"? I'm going to vote for some guy that. I mean, did you support him like through the primaries, like him? I guess if you had that fancy hat,
Yeah, so
like, what was that tipping
basically,
point?
basically Hillary had gone for this whole Trans-Pacific Partnership thing. I don't know if you guys remember this, but
All right,
uh,
business decision. That makes sense. Okay.
yeah. So had she gone through with this, it would have allowed them to ship a bunch of our service jobs over to India and China. And like that's all we have left, man. Like at that time, like computer programming and debt collecting and that kind of shit was like all we had left, right? It's like I'm like, dude, if you ship that over, we're not going to have anything fucking left to do here in America. Like we already sent all the manufacturing over there 30 years ago. What else do you want to take from us, right?
So why are
So
you not in favor of like getting some of that stuff back?
I
Can it be a good
mean,
thing?
like I said, I don't know, like I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I just don't know how we're going to do it because, like, we really don't even have those skill sets
Well, let me
anymore,
ask you a
and
question.
it would take a while,
Let me
right?
ask you a
That's my thought.
question. And I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it is going to take a while, but I mean, it's no secret we're headed into shithole economy coming up anyhow. So, but hold on, I don't want to get on that point. Fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. Shit. Uh, Go ahead, Skull. I'll remember it and interrupt
Skull,
you
I got a
later
question
on.
for you.
I
Skull, I
think.
got a question for you.
Oh,
Um, J-
hey, John.
my question for you is Joe the plumber. Is he from your area, your neighborhood?
Who? My neighborhood?
Yeah, Joe the plumber.
Oh man,
The plumber.
I don't know,
Huh?
but I think I just blew some people's minds by saying that I voted for. Yeah, he's from Ohio. Yeah, Joe the plumber was from Ohio. He's from Toledo, up north.
Up north.
Yeah, I just had to look him up. But yeah, that was during that campaign. Or no, that was during McCain and Obama, right? That was during that being.
Yes. Uh huh.
But yeah, I think I just blew some people's minds by revealing that many years ago I voted for Trump because I think at least Barth here thought I was straight down the line Democrat my whole life, which is not
Oh,
true.
it makes sense,
Yeah,
Skull.
but can you tell
He
us
cares
why you
about
voted for Trump in 2015
he cares
or
about his
16?
pocketbook and his business. But now that I believe he's was able to maybe sell one of those, I don't just thinking that in my head. He can go back to his liberal, you know, whole food shopping ways. He cashed out. Now he can be like, ooh, I can be like full liberal and care about the oh, as long as my check was cash. Am I right or am I right, Scold? Because that's an aggressive move to go from voting for Obama twice to being like, I need radical change. It's either that or you hate women's gold. Which one is it? Your pocketbook or you hate Hillary Clinton?
No, no. Like
I'm
I said,
done.
man, that Trans-Pacific Partnership of hers would have been an awful deal for America.
Would
And
it have
Clinton,
been an awful deal for your business?
No, it would have been an awful deal for all the Americans. For my business, it would have been great.
Okay, I
I
apologize. I heard you wrong then.
I could have fired all my security engineers and then like hired a bunch in India for like way cheaper. So like for me
So you
individually,
don't disagree on the pocketbook.
I mean I'm not I'm just saying like for me individually, it would not have been a bad thing. But like I just look at like who else can buy things, right? I mean, if you completely tank America's economy, this is the problem, right? Is like if you let capitalism just do its capitalism thing, eventually it makes people so poor they can't buy the services that you're selling. I mean, this is one of the reasons that Henry Ford started paying his assembly line workers more so that way they could buy his freaking cars that they were building. And so you got to keep that in mind. We lost sight of that somewhere as a country, and now it's just getting crazy.
Hey, Scald, while no one's listening, I really like you, bro. I just like to fuck with you too. So when I do that, except Canadians, I just fuck with them no matter what. But I know I make fun of your tramp stamp and your bad decision on spring break in '96, but
No,
ain't that a good
I
feeling?
always got that vibe from you, Barth. Like that you were just playing.
Yeah, you get it, Scald. You're one of the
Yeah.
few. So congratulations on that.
I heard Bing in here a minute ago, and then he got quiet again. But
I think he was trying to get a plumber referral from you. I don't know,
I'm
maybe
gonna fall asleep here in a minute.
well,
So
get a referral.
I don't know what happens to the room after that. Don't do anything too crazy, guys. I guess I don't.
I'm very curious to know more about Joe the plumber. Is he like gives good sports betting picks or something? I mean, that's
One of the things I really liked about McCain was when when one of those people called out Obama and asked if he was like un-American or something like that, right? And McCain said that he thought, that Barack Obama was a good stand-up guy and a good American, and wouldn't say that he was foreign-born or a terrorist or whatever crazy shit that person was spouting. In my mind, that is the last time we had civil discourse in politics. Was I felt like McCain and Obama had a mutual respect for each other still, right? On some level, right? That they had a mutual respect for each other, and then like we've just so lost sight of that as a nation. It's just gone.
Quiet in here. I'm not gonna boom the room.
Boom, 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 shout it.
Okay, well, I will see you all later. I'm going to sleep. It's like 2:30 my time.